Afternoon, welcome to another Arvada West Wildcat matchup here as we come to you from Jefferson County Stadium. Don Martin along with my partner this afternoon, Eric Christensen. You can see the captains out on the field. You have Cavallari, Palmer, and Pyatt in the middle. Nope, excuse me, that is Dern up there. And then you have Flora and Pyatt in the back as they wait for this toss to be flipped up in the air, figure out who's going to win the toss and which direction these teams may go. The Arvada West Wildcats, typically speaking, if they win the toss, they will defer, and that way they get that kick in the second half. Once again, a beautiful afternoon as we get set to bring you Arvada West Wildcat football on the Wildcat Television Network against the Standley Lake the Gators. The Gators come into this game with a 2-5 record for Guy Thurston and company. Once again, Arvada West wins the toss. They do defer, and they're going to go ahead and kick this ball off, and they'll kick it from north to south in this building, and which will be left to right on your screen. But Guy Thurston, interestingly enough, as I bring in Eric Christensen, 2 years ago, 1-9, last year 3-7, felt that they finally got themselves to the point where they might be able to do something, and then this year kind of fallen back a little bit at 2-5.
Just hasn't happened for the Gators this year. However, they do have good personnel, and this Arvada West team coming off 2 losses. Confidence may be shaken, but Standley Lake's going to have to come up with probably the effort of the year to pull this one out.
No doubt about it. Let's go ahead and pause a moment for the national anthem as we get ready for some football right here on the Arvada West Wildcat Network. Well, it's that time once again. Here come the Cats as they come out of the locker room in their purple and white. Coming out in the all blue will be the Standley Lake Gators. Once again, the Cats will kick this football off to get this one started. The Cats come into this contest 5-2, dropping 2 consecutive games to league rivals, Bear Creek and then Columbine. They look to run the table from here and get into the playoffs. They have 3 very strong games and opponents coming towards them in the next 3 weeks. Standley Lake today, Arvada next week, and then Pomona, who, by the way, lost yesterday on a field goal to Fairview. So the Pomona Panthers now not undefeated any longer. They are 7-1 as they get underway for next week and try to figure out how they can right that ship. So the Arvada West Wildcats, they really control their destiny. They do most likely have to go ahead and run this table and put things together. I realize that Standley Lake's 2-5. You don't ever want to look past anybody. Arvada's not the strongest school either, but when you put together 2 rivals, Arvada West, you never know what you're going to get. But the one thing you can say positively for the Arvada West Wildcats is it's kind of nice to have 2 teams that they should really trash and just trounce upon before they play Pomona to get that confidence back in the offense.
Right now, that's what Arvada West is absolutely searching for, Don. I mean, they came out and have lost their last 2 games. Bear Creek really had a field day through the air against them. Then last week, Columbine was able to dominate the line of scrimmage. So really the next 2 weeks, it's important for this Arvada West defense to get back that sense of urgency on the defensive side of the ball and start dominating again so they can go into that Pomona game with a lot of confidence. If they're able to win that and get into the playoffs, that'll bode well for this team down the road. But this is the first step right here. They can't be looking past Arvada. Standley Lake, like we said, has a lot of talented players. They do have some size, so Arvada West is going to go out. They're going to have to execute. They're going to have to play well to win today.
Yes, they are, but one good thing for the Arvada West Wildcats, Pyatt is back. He's feeling good. Did not get a lot of reps last week, and ball's going to be, guess what, touched in the end zone, bring it back out to the 20-yard line as Koval catches it 5 yards deep. Nice kick once again by Helgeson. And we'll set this offense for you, but we do want to remind you that Pyatt is back. He is healthy. He looks good. I watched him run a few sprints at the beginning of workout here today, trying to get ready for the pregame and figure out exactly how that ankle felt for him, and he looked very strong. That was what they were missing last week. You lose a Pyatt, you lose a lot when it's Arvada West.
If you've watched Arvada West throughout the season, they get Pyatt involved an awful lot. Not having him there really threw a kink into the offensive machine.
Single back in the backfield is Mike Raines, 6'1", 210-pounder. Give it to him, take it right off tackle on the right side, running over Justin Colburn, the 6'4", 255-pound senior tackle, and really not getting much out of that. They're going to give him, as a matter of fact, nothing, as Palmer and company just stopped him right at the line.
We talked about how this defense has to step up. Well, the two leaders on the defense for Arvada West are Ryan Palmer, the middle linebacker, and Robert Wunderlich, the left end. Those two guys combined for the first tackle of the afternoon, limiting Raines to no yards. Good sign for the A-West defense.
Couple of wideouts off to the lower end of your screen, one off to the top. Single back in the backfield, Raines again. Dropping straight back is Bishop. Looks into the flat, finds a receiver. Hit hard as he goes for the ball by Flora. And coming away with Eric Montana, came away empty-handed that time.
Bishop had a little time to throw, and Montana was open. However, the pass just went off his hands. Luckily, it wasn't intercepted. There were about 3 A-West defenders right around Montoya, but the pass went through his hands and fell incomplete.
That's exactly right, and I'm glad you corrected that before I had to. It was Eric Montoya. We're going to spread a couple wideouts, one off to each side. I formation set for the first time. Geist is your fullback, Raines your tailback. 3rd down and 10. Their own 20-yard line. Dropping straight back is Bishop. He's going to roll out, look into the flat. Could not complete the pass to Geist. Nice defensive pressure. In his face, Chris Chavez and company. And they're going to punt this football away on 3 downs and out.
We talked about how it was time for the Arvada West defense to step up and start to dominate. Well, they dominated the first 3 plays of this football game. Standley Lake going nowhere in a hurry. And now the ball, pending a turnover or something, is going to get back in the hands of that potent A-West offense.
Koval takes the ball on a bounce, puts his foot into it, kicks it away from Pyatt, and Durant's going to take a nice Standley Lake bounce inside the 40 down to the 35-yard line. And that's where they're going to mark it down. Durant could have come up and taken that ball. There wasn't a man within 10 yards of the football. Let's set the offense for you for the Wildcats as they come out for the first time. Cavallari will be your quarterback. Durant, Crayco make up the backs. Pyatt, Craighead your receivers, with Bernhorn your tight end. Jones, Fowler, Shepard, Seek, and Helgeson up front. And let's see what this Arvada West Wildcat offense can do to get this game going.
Craighead's an ugly punt, but it was pretty effective.
It really was. Pyatt off to the left, and we'll have Craighead off to the right side. I formation set, turn around, give it to Durant. Beautiful blocking up front. Durant crosses the 40 out to about the 46-yard line. And that's exactly what you want to do. Get 11 yards on your first run from scrimmage. Move the chains once again. 10:55 and counting in this first quarter. Nothing ball game. First time the Wildcats touched the football today.
There's nothing fancy about that play, Don. There was no trapping or no pulling guards or tackles. The offensive line for Arvada West just lined up straight up against the Standley Lake defensive line, blew him off the ball, and Durant went for 11 yards and a first down.
Chad Jones is your fullback. He's going to go in motion. Pitches straight back. Durant behind Jones. Gets around the right side. Straight down the sideline. Cross the 40. And they're going to mark him down at the 39-yard line. Let's wait and see what the officials are talking about. They may pull him back and say he stepped out of bounds a little earlier. Nope. There's a flag laying somewhere. I do not see it anywhere. But they're going to say illegal procedure on the Arvada West Wildcats. Here it is.
Yep.
It was blocked by big number 75 for the Standley Lake Gators.
Oftentimes, Don, when you run the ball effectively like Arvada West did on that play, despite having a holding penalty, that always helps the cause. You get good blocking from your receivers. That time out here on the right side, I wasn't able to get the number. I believe it was Josh Ransom, but they did get some good blocking. He sealed off that outside linebacker and opened up the end for Durant.
Also helping out on that outside was Chad Jones when he checked into the ball game. Couple wideouts off to the top of the screen. Pyatt alone at the lower end. Durant is your tailback. Dropping straight back. Cavallari, here comes the pressure, and he is down. They brought a blitz, and nobody read it. Dave Padilla, the defensive end, untouched, comes across the right side and just drills Derek Cavallari, and he is taken down for a loss back to the 31-yard line. It's going to be a second down, and let's go ahead and count this, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
I'll tell you what, that was a jailbreak there on the right or the
Really
left side
was.
of that Arvada West offensive line. Padilla untouched. That's inexcusable. He had a free shot on Cavallari.
You have 7 guys in the box right now for the Standley Lake Gators. They're going to try to bring the pressure once again. Same exact set. Lone back in the backfield. Oh, someone moved again.
And Padilla is pointing to the right side of that Arvada West line, so they're going to move it back another 5 yards. So we've got, what?
2nd and 30.
2nd and 30.
The Wildcats right now going in reverse offensively due to a couple of penalties. Really trying to get back on track with this offense.
Yeah, we talked about how the defense was torched the past 2 weeks. The offense was fine against Bear Creek, but last week against Columbine, like you said, with the absence of Pyatt, they really weren't ever able to get it really rolling.
Well, Pyatt's in there off to the left side or right side by himself, lower into your screen. Dropping straight back is Cavallari. He's looking for Craighead. Nope, goes up underneath instead. Unable to get it to Ranson. Ranson was in the slot, couldn't quite handle the football.
Ranson had some room out there. He had single coverage. The man covering him was Jesse Kenzer, excuse
Easy
me.
for you to say.
And he used to be the quarterback for the Standley Lake team, but after a couple poor performances, Justin Bishop has taken over. But Ransom had a couple steps. If that pass would have been in the breadbasket, he might have been able to turn that upfield for some good yardage.
Kenzer's staying in as a defensive back. He's going to go man up once again against Ransom. Dropping straight back. They're wanting Pyatt. Nope, he's going for Craighead down the sideline. He's out there, goes up. Oh, bounces off of his numbers. Nice defense, but Craighead did have a chance at the ball as Sean Tallman comes up tall that time. Nice pass by Cavallari.
Actually, that was pretty good defense by Tallman, but Craighead timed his jump perfectly.
Yes, he did.
You know, Arvada West does that better than any high school team I've ever seen, is go up for those jump balls on passes and come down with them. Craighead actually had a great chance to catch the ball. I just think he got a little disorganized or discombobulated going up for that catch.
Koval back to receive the Duran punt. Duran puts his foot into it, shanks it off to the right side, and where are they going to say that went out of bounds? The official saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. Now come back towards me a little bit. Come on, come on, come on. And still coming. Come on now. Stop. They're going to give it to him at the 47-yard line.
That's about a 28-yard punt.
A lot of height. Got his foot into it. Couldn't quite get it to turn over, and it did kind of shank off to the right side. Second possession of the evening now for Justin Bishop and company. 9:05 left in the first period. Nothing. Each team had an opportunity. 3 downs and out. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you on the Wildcat Network, and let's see what this defense can do. Dern's going to line up man-on-man against Kevin Clapham. High formation set, turn around, give it to Raines. Raines just trying to power his way into something, and guess what? He ran into a lot of white jerseys and a lot of help up front as well. Palmer was in there. Also, big number 90, Rob Morales, at 5'11", 235 pounds, and they bring him down, but the big horse gets 3 yards. 2nd down and 7. Ball 49-yard line of the Cats now.
Jeff Flora, the fine linebacker for A-West, made the initial contact on Raines at about the line of scrimmage. Raines was able to stumble ahead for 3 yards, but Flora was in there as well.
3 wide outside. Couple at the top, 1 at the bottom. Dropping straight back is Bishop. Looks in the flat. Finds his man open. Gets the first down and then some. Down to the 36-yard line. Catching the ball is Clapham in front of Brannon.
14-yard pickup. That's Bishop's first completion of the afternoon. Clapham, basically the leading wide receiver for this Standley Lake team. And a couple weeks ago we saw a sophomore, Justin Holland, have a fine game against Arvada West. We should mention Bishop, only a sophomore as well. Looked pretty good on that play.
Forsyth at the top of your screen. Clapham at the lower end. Single back is Raines. He gets the football. Tries taking over the right side. Ball's down on the ground. I was going to say the turf, but there isn't anywhere they're at. Standley Lake pounced on it. One of the offensive linemen will come out of there with it. Big number 75, and that'll be Adam Sinclair, 6'3", 280-pound senior. Still picks up a yard on the fumble. 2nd down now and 9. Ball firmly planted at the 34-yard line of the Arvada West Wildcats. Second possession of the afternoon for the Gators.
Again, Arvada West defense really stopping the run here, forcing Standley Lake to pass, and over the course of the game, if they put Bishop into many passing situations, that should bode well for the Wildcat defense.
Here comes the pressure. Bishop back. He lets it go. Could be intercepted, and it is. Bringing it back. Ranson gets it down to the 20-yard line. Right place, right time. And Josh Ranson just kind of sat back there like a center fielder in the World Series waiting for the ball to come down to him. First turnover of the night belongs to the Wildcats.
I'll tell you what happened there. Bishop, I think, threw the ball a little too early. Montoya was going in towards the middle of the field, then was going to cut out the pass. Was just a little early because by the time Montoya cut back out towards the sideline, the ball had already been intercepted. Just looked like some bad timing on that play between Bishop and Montoya.
I formation set. First down and 10. Craighead at the lower end of your screen. Pyatt at the top. Cavallari, your quarterback. 7:16 and counting in the first. We're going to just pitch it straight back. Duran follows a block. Oh, and he was taken off his feet for a yard loss. Great defense by Sean Tallman, the junior, shooting through there like a torpedo.
Tallman's the guy who made the pass breakup down here on third down. That time he came up from his defensive back position like a torpedo, upending Mike Duran. Duran tried to keep his feet, and Duran's really good at that. I mean, a lot of times the first guy who hits him doesn't bring him down. Duran's got great balance. That time, though, Tallman just got enough of Duran to trip him up.
I tell you, he could have been gone for a long run had he not shot through there and got an ankle. Here comes Duran once again. Powerful running. Spun around, taken down by Eric Geist, the fullback who also plays linebacker, but not till after he gains almost 8 yards on that play. Strong, strong man for 180 pounds.
Well, we talked about how Duran usually doesn't go down after the first hit. That time he was hit back near the line of scrimmage. But like we said, Duran's got great strength and some great balance. He's able to surge that ahead close to a first down, pick up a 9 for Duran. 3 carries, 19 yards for Mike.
I formation set once again. Duran out of the ball game. Turn around, boom, into that hole once again. First down as they cross the 30-yard line. Chad Jones carrying the football out to the 31.
Jeremy Schwartz in there on the tackle for Standley Lake, but not after Jones picks up a first down. And, I like watching Arvada West because a number of players will touch the ball on this offense. I expected Mike Sims to come in and be the second back off the bench, but now they're playing Chad Jones a lot between Jones, Sims, Duran. They'll even give the ball to Pyatt, Krako. I mean, they've got 5 or 6 guys who all handle the ball effectively out of the backfield.
Yes, they do. Chad Jones is going to be the lone back in the backfield this time around. There was an official timeout for a moment. First down and 10. Out at their own 30-yard line, nothing. 5:43 and counting in the first period. Arvada West in the white. Just a little dump pass, finds his fullback, gets it into his hands, crosses out to the 35-yard line. Jones finally taken down at the 36-yard line. Nice open field tackling, however, by Tran.
Yeah, that was a great open field tackle. Jones could have got a lot of yardage out of that play if Bauman wouldn't have been there to trip him up. Again, you saw the Arvada West line let Standley Lake's defenders rush in on the passer, and there's not a team that executes a screen pass better than Arvada West at the prep level. They live and die by that play often. You saw it there.
Second down and 5. Quick handoff inside. Fullback pushing hard, gets the ball to the 40-yard line, and then shoves straight back. Nice, powerful running by Zach Iwi again. Iwi comes in. You have Jones coming in. You'll see a little Matt Sims in this game once in a while. And then Duran will run it rather strong when he gets the football. I'm just surprised we haven't seen Duran now for 4 straight plays.
It's funny, just as I mentioned all those guys in the backfield, the one guy, I leave out Zach, and he busted ahead for 5 yards. I mean, they really have a lot of depth at the running back positions.
Oh, in the I formation set, you had Zach Iwi at fullback. Jones was your tailback. Quick timeout being called by Pyatt. They saw something they did not like, so Dave Logan will come on out, talk to this offense, and figure out what they need to do. Ranson checking back into the ball game as well.
Brad Pyatt still doesn't look quite like he's 100%. The other week against Columbine, he was limping noticeably on that bad ankle. It looks a lot better today, but he still seems to be favoring it ever so slightly. But you'd expect Arvada West to get him in the offense here pretty soon.
Hasn't touched the ball yet, and I agree with you. I mean, once again, he is your weapon, and you're just waiting for it to break. It's a 3rd down and 1. Ball at the 40. The Cats own 40, so this is 2-down territory.
You know, this great weather's giving Dave a chance to show off his new shades, huh? He probably wasn't counting on breaking those out in October.
One thing I did notice, they're all wearing the beige slacks and the white shirts over there.
They're color coordinated.
You can tell that coaching staff gets together. They call each other on the phone. Everybody knows what's going on.
Hey, Don, what were you wearing here today?
Oh! Unbelievable pressure by Eric Geist. Gets in the face of Cavallari. The play never had a chance to develop. Duran comes back in. 4th down and 1. They're going to pitch it back to him to get this first down. I told you this is definitely 4-down territory for Logan and company.
I'll tell you what, that might have just been a little miscommunication there by Arvada West, because the only player out there in the flat I saw was Josh Jones, the left tackle. Actually, the player with the best chance to catch that pass was Dave Padilla. He's come up big so far early on up that Standley Lake defense.
4th down and 1. Duran has to call a timeout. They didn't have the right players in. And boy, oh boy, that will come back, and just bother you after a little bit.
Luke Vanola checked into the ballgame, and now he's running off to the sidelines. We haven't called his name really all year long. I wonder if he was supposed to be out there. He's hitting himself on the helmet right now, so I think that might have been a mistake on Luke's part.
Well, Craighead's running out. Ranson's coming in with the play. He's going to give it to Cavallari and get set once again. 4th down and 1. Cats 40-yard line. 4:21 left in the first. Don Martin along with Eric Christensen. Pyatt's going to go wide to the right. Ranson to the top of the screen. I formation set. Duran is your tailback. Look for him to get the football. 7 men in the box. Give it to Duran. Gets more than the first down. Breaks the plane to the 45 out to the 46. They're going to suck it on back to the 45. However, first down, though, and 10 as you move the chains for the Wildcats.
Again, nice work up front by the offensive line for Arvada West. Keith Cavill in on the tackle there for Standley Lake. And that's one of those plays when you got 4th and short or 3rd and short, everyone's up there at the line of scrimmage. If you can break a play past that, there's no one back there to stop you. Cavill might have made a touchdown-saving tackle on that play.
Craighead and Ranson, top of the screen. Find Ranson on a quick hitter, and he is nailed. Oh, he caught it, turned around just in time for Keith Koval to nail him dead in the ribs. Pyatt ran that play beautifully last year quite a few times. Just a quick hitch pattern, boom, and takes it down the sideline. But Koval saw the films a few times, and he just nailed him right in the ribs. Ranson, a tough young man. He's going to line back up in that slot alongside of Craighead. Pyatt's wide to the right side, lower into your screen. Duran, the lone tailback in the backfield. 2nd down and 6. 49-yard line of the Cats. Nothing ball game, first quarter. So here comes Pyatt trying to do the same slant pattern, but 4 guys surrounded him. No chance.
Tell you what, Brad would have taken a big lick if he would have came down with that pass, because when his feet came back to the ground after he left his feet to make the catch, there were about 3 guys in navy blue surrounding him, all just licking their chops. Cavallari might have left Brad out to dry on that one a little bit.
Well, Bauman wanted him. Number 11. I mean, he just
had a few words for him.
3 wide receiver set once again. Go with the option. Pitch it back to Duran. Duran gets it. Gets a beautiful block by Micah Paldino, and they're going to call him for a hold as Duran takes it down the sideline. 20, 10, 5, touchdown. It's coming back on Micah Paldino's block. It was a crackback block, but it looked like it was a beautifully set up block. I want to see if they call that a hold.
That's a 51-yard play that appears to be coming back because of a holding penalty.
No doubt about it. You can hear these Standley Lake folks. They're going to call him for a clip. He blocked him in the back, and once again they're going to push this thing back 15 yards.
Again, though, you saw Duran avoid the first initial tackler a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage, and hate to belabor the point, but Mike Duran really, for his size, is amazing at eluding tacklers and breaking tackles, and he did it again there. Unfortunately, they caught Micah Paldino with the clip.
He's a fast son of a gun, too.
Yeah, once he's out in the open field, you aren't going to catch him.
You go from a 3rd down and 7 now to a 3rd down and 5, 10, 15, 20, as I continue to show you my prowess in arithmetic.
3 penalties for 23 yards already for Arvada West.
3 minutes, 10 seconds left in the first period. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you on the Wildcat Television Network. Couple of wideouts to the top of the screen. Yeah, but it doesn't help. You got to look at the lines. Driving straight back. Oh, and coming out of nowhere, they're going to get him for grounding.
Yep.
Coming out of nowhere, Mike Raines, the awesome tailback, who is also a linebacker. And that time, Cavallari needs to eat that ball. The young junior needs to just tuck it away and go down. He's going to lose the yardage as well as the down.
That's right.
It's going to be fourth down and definitely about a $10 cab ride. Back-to-back huge penalties.
I'm trying to see where they're going to mark it because that was a loss of 8 on the sack, and they'll take it back another 5. So, actually a loss of 13. They're going to
exactly go from the point in which it happened. Then you lose the down as well. So this ball's all the way back to the 21. First down is the 45-yard line of the Gators.
Right now you're just kind of waiting for something to happen in this football game. It's been a pretty slow first half. Up until this point, we have 3 minutes left here in the first quarter.
Duran's heels are about his 5-yard line. He's going to put his foot into it and get under this one. Nice kick. Calling fair catch, Koval, and he gets it at the 45-yard line. Keith Koval comes up, grabs it. They're going to mark him down about the 44, as a matter of fact. They're going to say he catches that ball and pull it on back, bring the offense back up. The Wildcat defense has really done a tremendous job in the 2 drives that the Gators have had, stalling the first one, 3 downs and out. The second one, a very nice offensive drive for the Gators, stopped once again by an interception. And now you give them the ball at the 45-yard line, their own 45, and you can't ask for better field position than that.
No, you sure can. Right now, both defenses really are sort of dominating this football game and setting the tempo. You're just waiting for one of these defenses maybe to make a big play, force a turnover that's going to get their offense going.
Inside the 3-minute mark of the first period, still goose eggs up on that board. Forsyth at the top of the screen, Clapham at the lower end. I formation set. Geist in front of Raines. Raines gets the ball. First time he's taking it off the left side, and he gets deep into Arvada West territory. Big man gets 10 yards as he's taken down to the 38, finally taken off his feet by Cisneros.
I'll tell you what, Josh Ransom was in there as well. Ransom goes 5'9", 155. We don't have a height or weight on Mr. Raines, but I bet he goes about 200, 210, 6'1", 210.
Yeah, 6'1", 210.
He kind of runs the ball like Earl Campbell. He's not going to avoid any tacklers. He wants to take you head on, and he did that time.
They're going to mark him down at the 44-yard line. I formation set once again. Switching sides, Forsyth to the lower end, Clapham at the top. Your quarterback, Justin Bishop, only a sophomore, drops back, goes over the middle, finds his man. Clapham has it, turns it up, 20, inside the 15, finally taken down at the 14 by Duran and company. And that was just a quick slant pattern by Kevin Clapham at the top of the screen and showed a little bit of speed.
Well, I'll tell you what, Clapham is definitely Bishop's favorite receiver. Bishop's completed 2 of 5 passes here today, both to Clapham. That one good for about 40 yards.
They're going to pull it back out to the 15. Kevin Clapham, 5'7", 155, moves back to the top of your screen. Forsyth at the lower end. I formation set once again. 2 minutes left in the first period. See what the Gators can do. Give it to Forsyth. He's rumbling and bumbling, and once you get tied up with Palmer, that was Wonderlick. You're not going anywhere.
That play was foiled from the beginning because Raines just was never able to get ahead of steam going up into the line of scrimmage. He came to a stop because there was nowhere to run. He just had nowhere to go. Great defensive line play there by Arvada West.
He just pointed to his coach, Guy Thurston, and was pointing at his chest. He took a wicked crunch right in the chest by Robert Wonderlick. You have 210-pound guys hitting each other. Wonderlick watches him come off the field, and he's clapping.
And now they bring Geist out as well. They're going to have to call a timeout and figure out what they want to do here. But Raines coming off the field with that injury sort of sent the Standley Lake offense into a state of disarray. They had people running in and out, not really sure what they wanted to do. So they, too, will have to spend one of their timeouts here and get things started. This is a situation where Standley Lake's in field goal range. Kensler can kick it. He's kicked 30, 40-yard field goals this year for the Gators. So you want to make sure, one, you don't commit a turnover or make any stupid penalties and get yourself out of field goal range. And two, just take care of the football.
I hate to say it, Eric, with 1:28 left, I don't know if field goal is what you want to do at this point. I feel an offensive explosion coming on.
Well, you've been pretty good at predicting those things all year long.
I will wager a small one with you here that Arvada West will score next time they have the football. So you want to get some points when you're playing this team.
I'll tell you what, though, at this point, just getting on the board first would be a big boost of confidence to the Standley Lake club.
Former quarterback Kensler, the lone back in the backfield. And here comes the defense. They're going to bring the house. Wonderlick puts his hands up. Kensler gets it. They let him as they let Wonderlick come through. Kenzer touchdown. Just a quick screen pass.
No, he's short.
They let the jail break through. I thought the offense or the defense was just coming through and looking strong. They let them through, and Kenzer gets the little dump pass. He did not score. They're going to pull it back out to the 1-yard line, and it's going to be a first down and goal.
So I'll tell you what, that was a page out of our Arvada West playbook right there. You saw the defensive lineman coming in, putting a lot of pressure on Bishop. Kenzer just snuck out of the backfield, much like they do with Mike Duran, and the play worked for 15 yards. Now they got it first and goal inside the 1-yard line.
I saw a lot of linebackers coming through, too. I formation set. Raines will get this one. Turn around off the left side. He is hit hard. He is going nowhere. I can see some numbers come off. Morales is in there, but Flora was the first one to hit him.
Palmer had his head in
Palmer in
there
there as well. That was impressive. I mean, that big 210-pounder had nowhere to go.
Again, that was another instance where he came up to the line of scrimmage, and there really was just very little room for him to run. He had to make a decision, and by the time he processed it, he was already wrapped up and he wasn't going anywhere.
Tight eye formation set once again. Couple wideouts off to lower in your screen. Raines up the middle. Hit by Flora. Does he get in? Touchdown. I mean, Flora stood him straight up.
Flora got a good piece on him, and really that's a great play anywhere but the 1-yard line. I mean, that's a 1-yard gain. You'll live with that. That time, Raines, though, great second effort by the big fella. He bounced off the tackle attempt by Flora and just was able to fall his way into the goal line. He didn't make it by much, but tomorrow morning when you look at the paper, it'll say 7-0.
It really will, but I'm watching Raines now. He kind of lumbered over to the sideline. He's down on a knee. This young man's hurting. Something happened to him in his upper chest when he hit Wonderlick because he came off. They popped both of his shoulder pad straps. They looked at his chest, and then they pulled him back down, stuck him back in there. It looks like he's having some difficulty breathing down there.
Justin Colburn, their big 6'4", 255-pound right tackle, is limping gingerly off the field as well for Standley Lake. So
left ankle, it looks like.
They've got the lead 6-0, but physically they seem to be a little beat up. With
he can't
Raines,
even.
You wonder if he might have like a bruised rib or something like that.
Could be, but Colburn can't even make it to the bench. He had to flop right down at the 25-yard line. Former quarterback, he's going to roll out. Here we go, looking for two, and they get it.
What a nice little play.
Nice play to Eric Geist as Justin Bishop puts on a fake between he and Kenzer, the former quarterback, and they find Geist all by himself on the left side of the end zone. We have an 8-0 ball game here as the Gators strike gold first.
I'll tell you what made that play really nice is Bishop, after taking the snap, pivoted to his right. You saw Kenzer, the kicker, start rolling out to his right. I absolutely thought he'd be the intended
Jim Turner
receiver.
all over again.
It was Geist coming from like the left side of that offensive line, just dragging across the end zone. That's a real tough play to defend, but a very well-conceived fake PAT by Guy Thurston and the Gators.
You thought it was Jim Turner faking that field goal and going around and catching that touchdown, didn't you? You're not old enough to remember all that.
I remember that. That was years ago.
13 seconds left in the first period. Duran and Pyatt are back. I do not anticipate a kick going in their direction. Jesse Kenzer, former quarterback, ready to kick this off. He's not a stupid kid. They're going to bounce this thing up front here, so you want to get the good hands folks in here. Pyatt and Duran lining up.
Wow. Standley Lake pulling out all the stops. It looks like they're going to go for an onside kick the way they're lined up.
No way. They're going to boot this ball. Pyatt's going to get it. 5-yard line. He's got a wall in front of him. See what he can do. Here comes some blue jerseys. Ooh. And, is he hit at the 25-yard line by Geist, the fullback. Whoa. These two, this running back fullback tandem that plays linebacker as well.
They're big, mean, and nasty.
Oh, my.
There was no way Brad Pyatt was going to get out of the wraps of Mr. Geist on that one.
Well, what happened was Pyatt got in there and he was tiptoeing around. It was all clogged up. There was nowhere for him to run.
You know what he did is he kind of outran his blockers. Like I look back there and he was even with his blockers. He really didn't let them create a pocket for which he could pick a hole. He sort of outran his blocking that time.
No doubt about it. Couple wideouts off to each side. Give it to Duran. Duran tiptoes around, and he is taken down at the line of scrimmage, working hard. Keith Koval That's the third time we've mentioned his name in the first quarter. And that's going to do it for the quarter. We're going to switch sides, but I tell you what, very, very impressive defense by the Standley Lake Gators here.
Right now, Standley Lake is coming out here and playing really inspired football. Do we have a penalty as well?
Yes, holding is going to be called on the Wildcats. When they flip sides, they're going to be 10 yards deeper. They're going to push this ball back to the 16-yard line.
I'll tell you what, this is definitely, and this is, I mean, you don't need me to tell you this, but this is not the start Arvada West wanted. A team is coming off 2 losses. Maybe their confidence is shaken a little bit. I mean, 2 weeks ago, this team was ranked nationally in the top 25. They were undefeated, ranked number 1 in the state. Now, I mean, just 2 weeks later, they've got 2 losses on their record, and now Standley Lake is giving them everything they've wanted here in the early going. This is a team that I think really is searching for a little confidence. They need to get Brad Pyatt involved in this offense. He's yet to touch the football other than that kickoff return, and I understand he may not be 100%, but he's been the big play guy for this team for the past 2-3 years, and I think it's about time to get the ball in his hands.
I'm not going to argue with you. I like Dern. I like Craig Head. I like a lot of these kids that are on this football team. They right now just need a spark.
Absolutely.
If they score, it's going to be. It could very, very, very easily be an ugly ball game. But they have to get that confidence level back. They have to get some sort of a play that is just going to spark this offense and send them over the top.
And we've seen it before from Arvada West. I mean, this is a team that when we saw them trailing Overland early on, they ended up winning the game 50-14. I mean, this is a team that maybe it takes them a little while sometimes to get started, but once they start to click, they can put points up in a hurry. I just wonder, after coming off 2 losses, if maybe that confidence to come back maybe is a little shaken.
Oh, probably. That's why they need that spark. Dern, your lone back in the backfield. Pyatt at the lower end of your screen. Craig Head up at the top. Dropping back is Cavallari. He needs some protection. Gets it. Couldn't quite get that ball out to Pyatt. Pyatt was about 10 yards deeper than he was throwing. It's going to be 2nd down and 20 now. I'm wondering when you're going to see David Wyatt come in and get his shot at this. A lot of pressure up front. The offensive line having a tough time against Padilla, Sansrico, Stoltz, Colburn, and Tran. And then when you start sending Geist and Raines in there, you're talking about some major league meat. Somebody from Standley Lake decided we're going to bring 7 guys.
Mm-hmm. They're really loading up the box. They're playing 7 guys in the box. You'd think that might play into Arvada West's hands, but it's forcing Cavallari to throw down the field. He appears to not have his A game tonight.
Oh, he just lofts it up there. Craighead comes back for it, fights it, gets the ball inside the 40 to the 38-yard line, and that was just determination by Craighead. Jeremy did an awesome job of coming back to that football.
That's a 37-yard pickup on the play, and we talked about it a little bit ago about how well these Arvada West receivers can play the football once it's up in the air. I mean, that was great coverage by Sean Tallman. That was one-on-one, mano-a-mano, and that time Craighead just outworked him and outfought him for the football. We've seen it time and time again for Arvada West. I've got to venture to guess they must practice that in offense, just fighting one-on-one for the football.
Tallman threw him to the ground, though. Craighead went off. His right shoulder was dipped down a little lower than the left as he went towards the bench. Duran's going to turn it up, cuts back, gets it across the 40, and he's going to get it down to the 35-yard line, and it's just a nice little power running by Duran. It was a power sweep to the right side. He cuts back, and the backside contain did get him, but not until after he picked up 4 as they push it out to the 36.
Duran, 6 carries this afternoon, 28 yards.
So that's the other thing. I mean, if you're going to continue to put 7 men in the box, you bring them across. Mm-hmm. Once he gets across that initial wave, he could be gone. Craco checks into the game for the first time today on a 2nd down and 6. 10:38 left in the half. 8-0 ball game. Wildcats trail. They have the ball. Whistles blowing everywhere. A lot of stuff going on out here.
Fred Stoltz, he goes 6'1", 285. And he absolutely just bulldozed his way into the backfield on that play. I don't know if Joe Shepard, who goes 5'8", 185 for Arvada West, had given up on the play because he heard the whistle, but Stoltz just pushed him back into Cavallari. That Stoltz is a big man.
Every time something gets going offensively, a penalty is stalling something for the Arvada West Wildcats. Wildcats pull it back out. 2nd down now and 11. Out to their own 40-yard, the 40-yard line, of the Gators. Don Martin along with my partner Eric Christensen, the Wildcat Television Network. Quick screen pass, get it to Pyatt, puts on some speed, turns the corner, takes it inside the 25-yard line down to about the 20. Are they going to mark him down at the 18? Yes. Pyatt put a licking on that one.
22 yards on the pickup. We thought they needed to get Brad Pyatt involved that time. They did it with just an easy little out pass. Pyatt didn't even run a route.
And there's a flag holding. They're going to call it on Craighead, and I thought it was just a very nice-looking block. Once again, every time this thing starts going in the right direction, there's a penalty, and it pulls it back. 10 minutes left in the first half, 8-0 ball game. The Gators have the lead. Wildcats have the ball. They had a 2nd down and 11, had enough for the first down to the 18-yard line. And now they're going to have to pull this thing back, and it's going to be a 2nd down again and about 10.5.
I'll tell you what, they actually gained a yard with that penalty. It was the infraction was committed far deep enough downfield. Yeah, so when it was brought back, easy for me to say.
Couple of wideouts at the top of your screen. Pyatt's in the slot, trips formation, goes same play, other side. He puts a beautiful move on. Can he get to the outside? Yes.
Geez.
Breaks it down the sideline, inside the 20. They're going to pull him down at the 20. I was a little overzealous. I thought he was going to go a little further. Beautiful footwork, though, when he crossed the 30. Pyatt starting to show a little bit of something.
Well,
don't get his confidence up.
His ankle isn't bothering him too much because that was a great play by Pyatt. Same play they ran before except to the other side. This time, a little tougher going for Mr. Pyatt. He had to elude 3 or 4 Standley Lake defenders, but he did so just like the old Brad Pyatt. Picked up 19 yards and a first down.
Well, John Tran stayed home, the defensive end, but Pyatt put a move on him, and he left his jockstrap around the 40. Trips to the left side. Micah Paldino in, instead of Pyatt. Dern gets the dump pass. He's going to cross the 20 down to the 17-yard line.
3 yards on the pickup there, Duran. That's his first reception of the afternoon. Good defense there by Justin Colburn, the defensive tackle for Standley Lake. He read the play. He saw Duran sneaking out of the backfield, and the big fella was able to chase him down and limit the gain to only 3 yards.
2nd down and 7, 17-yard line of the Gators. They lead this contest 8-0, 8:46 and counting in the half. Trips off to the left side once again. Paldino, Craighead, and Ranson. Dropping straight back, wanting Paldino. Intercepted! Went straight into the chest of Bauman. Bauman running with it. He is thrown to the ground by Cavallari out at the 35-yard line. Cavallari never saw him as he was in that gap. He was looking hard for Paldino on the slant.
Yeah, that's just one of those cases where Cavallari never saw Mr. Bauman. That was one of the easiest receptions Bauman's probably going to get in his high school career because it was thrown right to him. You know, when you're a
not only that, it was so hard,
and you've got guys in front of you. It's easy for someone just to be sitting back in a zone, and you just don't account for it.
Well, I just want to reiterate what you were saying. I mean, it was the easiest reception in his career for one reason. Had he not caught it, it would have been implanted in his chest, and he would have just took off running with it.
I would have liked to have seen that.
1st and 10, their own 35-yard line. Turn around, fake it to Raines. Beautiful reach, and pulling him down was Rob Morales as he just reached that big old right paw out there and grabbed himself an ankle. Throw him down for a loss. 2nd down and 13.
That was a great play.
Well, he couldn't do anything because he had an offensive lineman laying on him. So Morales just reaches out there and grabs that leg and pulls him to the ground.
He submarined underneath the offensive lineman. He was on the ground when he made the tackle. He just swiped at Bishop's foot as Bishop was backpedaling and knocked him down. What a great effort there.
2nd and 13. They have the lead 8-0. Linebackers fake the blitz. They come back out. Palmer's chasing him. Raines gets to the outside. Taken down. Jumped on his back by Chris Chavez.
3-yard pickup for Raines. He's got 8 carries for 19 yards. So the Arvada West defense has been pretty salty against the run here. They've just given up a few big passes from Bishop to Clapham, but the defense appears to have righted the ship a little bit. They're really making it tough for Standley Lake to move the football, especially on the ground.
3rd down and about 10.5. 7:25 left in the half. 8-0 ball game. Gators with the ball and the lead. Wide to the lower end of your screen. For the Gators are Forsyth and Clapham. They like to go to Clapham. Clapham's underneath. He's looking for him again. He sets in the gap, gets it, and gets a first down. You knew he was going there. Palmer was with him. Brannon was with him. Also getting up from the middle of that pile was Flora. But he just sat down. I mean, he's 5'7". You can't see him if you're looking too high. And he just kind of sat down in the gap.
Tell you what, Clapham's had some big games this year for the Gators, and he's a nice-looking receiver. He's kind of in the mold of that Brad Pyatt. He's got some speed, and for a high school kid, he catches the ball and he looks to run immediately after he catches it. He's not concerned with whether he's going to catch the ball or not. He knows he's going to catch it, and that can allow him to make a couple moves after he catches the football. There, he made a couple moves to pick up some extra yardage. He's awful close to the first down.
Oh, he has it by half the length of the football. I don't know what these officials are doing.
Got great eyesight.
Well, no, I'm looking right down the line here. Look at
half
this.
The length of the football. Amazing.
First down and 10, 46-yard line, their own 46. They have an 8-0 lead, and the Gators are kind of sloshing around out here. 7:08 left in the first half.
Bishop, 4 of 7 for 70 yards. 3 of those completions have gone to Mr. Clapham. He's got 3 catches for 53 yards. So Standley Lake hasn't really been able to do much offensively other than have Bishop find Clapham. If Arvada West can find a way to shut down that connection, I think they'll have Standley Lake in a whole heap of trouble.
Well, Bishop just looked at Clapham, and he was looking in that direction. Clapham was at the top of the screen. They're going for him again. Find the tight end instead as they get him to come up underneath Clapham and pull down his first catch of the afternoon. Doing the honors, Mike Jones, the defensive end and tight end junior.
19-yard pickup on the play, and Bishop, for a sophomore, has got a nice little arm on him. That one was thrown with a little bit of mustard, and it found its mark. Jones bobbled the ball a little bit, was able to recover it for a nice 19-yard pickup.
Well, we told you earlier that Bishop, the sophomore, replaced Jesse Kenzer. Kenzer last year, he's a senior this year. He was the quarterback last year, passed for almost 900 yards. So, needless to say, Guy Thurston saw something in Justin Bishop. I formation set. This is Raines territory. As I say that, they want to go for Clapham down the sideline. It's just a timing pattern. Couldn't quite make it there.
Well, that breaks a string of 4 straight completions for Bishop, and you mentioned Kenzer. He just had that horrible game against Pomona. I believe he was like 3 of 25 with 4 interceptions, only 50, 60 yards passing. And, this Bishop looks to be a pretty good little player considering the kid's probably, 15, maybe 16 years old. He's showing a lot of poise against a team that comes in here with an awful lot of accolades. Bishop's not intimidated at all.
Well, what he shows you is you have a pretty good quarterback to go to for the next couple of years here at Standley Lake. 6:16 and counting in the first half. 2nd and 10, 35-yard line of the Cats. 8-0 ball game. They have the ball and the lead. Pitched it back to Kenzer. Kenzer with a nice move again. Still running. This was your quarterback last year. He's going to score. Touchdown. Bad tackling. 35 yards later, a flag down, should be a hold or a clip. It's coming back on the clip. Turnabout's fair play as the Wildcats had the exact same play called in the exact same area when Duran went the other way for 50 yards for a touchdown.
I'll tell you what, Justin Bishop on that option got leveled too because he's been down on one knee and he looks to be in a little bit of pain walking around out there at the 40-yard line, but he's showing a little bit of grit trying to walk it off. John Tran, I believe, was a guilty party. He seemed to take the brunt of that penalty on his head, and that's a loss of 5 yards. And so Arvada West had a touchdown taken off the board on Duran's run. Now Kensler and Standley Lake has a touchdown taken off the board, so we should be pretty close to even.
6:06 left in the first half. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you. 8-0 ball game, so it's not quite even. And the lone back in the backfield remains Jesse Kenzer. Your quarterback, Justin Bishop. A couple of wideouts at the lower end of your screen. Forsyth and Clapham. And once again, did not like what he saw, so the young sophomore decided to take a timeout.
I'm wondering if he didn't like what he saw as far as the alignment by A. West, or if he's still seeing 3 of everybody. And maybe needs a little bit more time to clear his head. He still looks a little shaken up out there.
And he keeps looking at his left hand, and now he's kind of rubbing it down. He did something to either his ring finger or his pinky finger on his left hand, and earlier he was sucking on that finger and kind of flicking it out, so it may be bleeding.
Going back to that,
he was hit.
Yeah, he was hit hard. And, he's not a big kid. I just looked out there, and, he's a sophomore, and he looks a part of a sophomore. This kid hasn't seen a razor ever in his life.
Oh, no.
And I bet he's probably not much bigger than 160, 170
doesn't
pounds.
have hair on his legs. What are you talking about? But the young man can play quarterback. He's shown a little chutzpah. I got to give him that.
Of course, I'm 30, and I bought my first razor, 2 weeks ago. So I don't have much room to talk.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I start having a few grays, and that's all I have to say. I formation set. Raines has not touched the ball in this drive. Dropping back is Bishop, going over the middle, wanting his man. And that time, Clapham saw Mike Jones, his own teammate, coming across, so he laid out to try to just slide underneath him. He wasn't going to go for the football because he thought he would kill him.
And that time, Clapham again had a step on the defender. He had found the soft spot in that Arvada West zone, passed just a little too far in front of Clapham. Luke Vanola is getting a lot of playing time here for Arvada West. He's manning that left or, I guess, right cornerback position for the Wildcats, and he was the one who was called on to cover Clapham that time.
Well, now you have Cisneros lined up straight across from Clapham. To see what we're going to do. Single back in the backfield. They want Clapham again. Looking for him, coming up underneath.
Oh.
Ball should have been caught. Out of the reach of Palmer. Bounces off of his thigh pad.
And again, who was the intended target? Mr. Clapham. That time, another poorly thrown ball by the sophomore Bishop. And I'll tell you what, if we thought the interception down here by Bauman was the easiest interception of the year, Palmer just dropped one that he may not get too many more looks like that the rest of the season.
Through his hands and off of his thigh pad. Duran and Pyatt back to receive this punt. Put a foot into it, kicking it directly out of bounds, and that may have been about a 20-yard kick.
It's going to be about a 25-yard kick, but it's out of bounds inside the 20-yard line.
Further than that. Oh, he is.
21 yards, 21-yard punt, and it's effective. Hey, it backs Arvada West up inside their 20.
Wildcats get the football back with 5:43 left in the half. Time to do something with it. The last time they had it, beautiful drive all the way down to their own 10. And then the interception. So let's see what they can do. They trail 8-0. See who gets the football. Want to see the Pyatt reverse here ultimately.
I'll tell you what, Brad Pyatt, that last series, he had a couple nice runs on some screen passes. I'd expect Arvada West to get him the ball, and there is yet another penalty flag.
I mean, this official was just staring straight down the line, and now he's talking to somebody.
And
dead ball foul.
False start.
False start again. I mean, move it back 5 more yards. How many penalties in the first half?
7 penalties, 43 yards.
Jeez. Well, Micah Paulino checks in. He tells Craighead to stay. Ranson comes out, so you're going to have Paulino, Craighead, and Pyatt as your receiving core, along with Bernhorn, your tight end. Pyatt will be the lone receiver at the lower end of your screen. Dern's alone back in the backfield. Dropping straight back is Cavallari. He wants somebody down on the flat. He has him out there, and coming away with it once again, the man who is just an unsung hero on this football team, Jeremy Craighead, comes up with big catch after big catch. He had to lay down. Had that ball been up and Cavallari got him in stride, he would have been down the sideline.
Cavallari 6 of 12 for 90 yards. Craighead's caught 2 of those passes for 60 yards. So, again, just when you mention, hey, they got to get the ball in the hands of Pyatt or Duran, Craighead, like you said, the unsung member of this offense, coming up with yet another big play for the guys in purple and white.
Same set, just flipping the sides. Cavallari steps up. He gets away from the trouble, all by himself. Craighead again. Can he put on a move? He's fighting hard, gets out of it. 40, 30, 20, 10, touchdown. Micah Paulino with an unbelievable block. And I don't just mean unbelievable, a killer block as he nails Sean Tallman off of his man Craighead. Same play, opposite side of the field, same pass. Cavallari, nice footwork in the pocket.
I'll tell you what, great footwork in the pocket there by Cavallari. You mentioned the block by Paldina, and that was, I don't know if Tallman would have caught Craighead. He had a chance at him, but Paulino put that to rest quickly. I'll tell you what, though, Cavallari, he felt some pressure, and he stepped up in the pocket, great awareness, and that allowed that play to happen because it bought him some time to look for maybe his second or third receiver on the play. Craighead was wide open out here. Craighead did a great job of fighting through the tackle, and after that Paldino block, I mean, that was the easy part of the play, was running it to 30 yards for the score, but 64 yards on the strike, and Craighead quietly, or maybe not so quietly, 3 catches, 124 yards today. He's coming up big for Arvada West when they really needed a spark.
Yes, they did, and that was straight up Jeremy Craighead. because he should have been taken down at the 40-yard line.
Absolutely.
He wrestled and fought and kicked and got out of the tackle. And then Micah Paladino says, if he's going to give that much, I'm going to give a little bit too. He left a little purple on the teeth of somebody.
Yeah, that was a huge block by Paladino, and I believe it was Tallman.
It was Tallman that got hit.
Who he just put into another world.
He is now Smallman.
Between Talman and Bishop, those guys are having some nightmares over there on the bench. Actually, Talman's out here guarding Paladino on the far left side.
Going for two. Coach Logan calls the play. Pitch it out. Duran has it. Can he get around the corner? Turns it up. Yes! That was all Duran. As he pushes it to the outside. He had two big old meats in front of him. And we have an 8-8 ball game with 5 minutes exactly left in the first half, as the Arvada West Wildcats come up big on a beautiful catch and run by Jeremy Craighead.
Duran got a good block from Brad Pyatt on the play as well. Pyatt just pushed Braden Forsythe just enough to get him out of the way. Duran cut it back inside and was able to convert the two-point conversion easily. And I was about ready to ask you when Arvada West got the football, when's the last time they went a half of football without scoring?
I know.
But now we don't need to find out the answer.
And you know, you don't want to wake that sleeping giant. You allow that offense to finally get, some sort of a rhythm, because that's what this team needs to do. I mean, they need to get a rhythm going and not only take it from one game, but take it for 3 games and then hopefully into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's what they're shooting for. And yes, indeed, you definitely want, these young men to take it one game at a time, as Coach Logan has probably said a few times to them right now, because when you trail 8-0 with 5 minutes left in the first half, it's kind of scary if you're Arvada West.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, it's really amazing Craighead's ability to go up and get the football and make something happen with it. I mean, everyone talks about Pye, and we know that Pye is probably one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest guy in the state in football pads. Craighead necessarily doesn't have the blazing speed like Pyatt, but he just goes up and gets the football. You can't ask for much more than that.
And some of the best hands and routes that you will see a receiver run. Ball kicked out of bounds once again. Out of the end zone, I should say, once again, and you kind of get used to that.
Eric Helgeson's been doing it all year long. He continues to, allow Arvada West to win the battle of field position week in and week out.
There's a whole bunch of laughing and carrying on going on this Standley Lake sideline, so someone hit somebody and was pretty proud of it.
31 looks to be the guy getting the pats on the back. That's Charlie Landers, running back defensive end. He's only a junior.
Single back in your backfield will be Big Mike Raines at 210 pounds. First down and 10. Give it to him. Just a quick draw up the middle. He is not going anywhere. Well, as I say that, he pulls himself out about 5 yards. Jaden McNeely met him right at the line, and I thought Jaden was going to be able to throw him to the ground, but this is a horse. A horse.
It almost looked like McNeely was trying to rip the ball loose. His major concern in that play might have been trying to force a fumble rather than just tackling Raines. And here with under 5 minutes remaining, not a bad idea, because Standley Lake really hasn't shown the ability to maintain a consistent offensive drive here in the first half.
2nd and 5, their own 25-yard line, knotted up at 8 apiece. Inside the 4-minute mark of the first half. Coming up underneath, sooner or later, that ball is going to go another direction. Dern was in on that tackle, but Clapham is the only guy that Justin Bishop is going to. And he's looking for him on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
He connected with Mike Jones. He connected, with a couple of guys here today, but Clapham is the guy that's getting all the look.
4 catches, 58 yards for Clapham, and that was a nice catch he made there. It was in traffic. Duran had very good coverage. It was just a nice pass and a nice catch, and they convert the first down.
Thing is if a Duran picks one, he's going the other way because no one's going to catch him.
And looks like Standley Lake's going to spend another time out here.
Didn't quite like what they saw. I heard Guy Thurston scream all the way up here, "Time out!" So they're going to give him that timeout, and once again, let us have an opportunity to reset exactly what's going on in this first half. You have the 5-2 Arvada West Wildcats taking on the 2-5 Standley Lake Gators. The Gators open this thing up, 8-0 lead, and they take it deep into the second quarter as the Wildcats finally score with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. And we have an 8-8 ball game with 3:49 left in the half.
And I'll tell you what, I've been pretty impressed with Standley Lake coming here this afternoon. I don't know how well I thought they'd play out here tonight. I actually thought they'd come out and be in a world of hurt. I thought this was a game that Arvada West would get well at. Thank you. But I'll tell you what, they've presented the Wildcats here with a pretty good stiff challenge. I mean, offensively they haven't done a lot, but they have been able to put 8 points on the board, and their defense has limited, for the most part, Arvada West from making too many big plays.
Kenzer, the lone back in the backfield. They're going to go with the option. Wunderlich nails the quarterback. Kenzer has it, cuts up in front of Palmer, and he's running again. This is your former quarterback. Breaks the midfield stripe down to the 46-yard line of the Wildcats, and every time Kenzer comes in, they run the option.
I'll tell you what, Kenzer is a pretty good athlete himself. He caught the screen pass down here earlier in the first half. We ran the option for a touchdown that was called back. That time, another option. But he's got good balance on the run. I just wonder how often they're going to run the option, because that time Bishop just got hammered again by Wunderlich. He's probably like, Coach, come on, man. I'm getting killed out here.
Clapham by himself, top of the screen. Duran on him. I formation set. Give it to Kenzer, and Kenzer cannot run that play. Wunderlich nailed him. Also in there, Palmer. They caught him right at the line. See, Kenzer's a good running back when you get him to the outside. He's not quite heavy enough to go inside amongst the meat. I mean, right now you look at Geist and Raines, the big guys, over 210 pounds, not able to run that play.
Yeah, you would just wonder if Kenzer's getting a little more playing time at tailback because of what appeared to be an injury to Raines there at the end of the first quarter. We noticed that he was holding his chest or maybe his ribs. You wonder if that's why Kenzer's getting a few more looks at tailback than I believe what he normally gets.
Oh, they're looking for the short guy again. He's on the outside. Can't get it to him. Kevin Clapham, senior, 5'7", 155. I think I would just put one guy on him and let him just follow him everywhere he goes. Just mirror every move he makes, because they're looking for him every time. 2:36 and counting in the first half. 8-8 ball game. Ball resting comfortably at the Arvada West 44-yard line. Gators with the football. This Wildcat defense has really come up big, play after play after play, and then just one play seems to hurt them on each drive.
They definitely have played well here in the first half against Standley Lake this afternoon.
Raines is the lone tailback. Wunderlich's coming after him. Can he get him? The sophomore lets it fly. Brandon was there, and he didn't turn around in time.
And we've got
this could either be offensive or defensive pass interference. Braden Forsythe, there's a hold back here for sure, but Braden Forsythe, number one, who caught the football for the Gators, pushed off, but Jesse Brandon needed to turn around. They're going to call defensive pass interference on Arvada West, holding on the Gators, so it's going to negate and come back and be run all over again with a 3rd down and 9. See, Jesse Brandon, he was fronting him, but he never turned around, right. So they called him for that.
And Dave Logan's going to have a few words for Jesse. Dave has been on the other end of that as a receiver in college and pro football, so he knows the battles that a receiver and a defensive back wage. Again, penalties really hurting both teams. This is the second touchdown that's going to be taken off the board for Sandy Lake. Of course, Arvada West has 7 penalties on the afternoon, so both teams really not helping their own cause, going against 2 pretty good defenses here in the first half.
3rd down and 9, and boy, do I agree with you. 44-yard line of the Cats, 8-8 ball game. Same play, dropping back, getting some better protection this time. Went with the exact same play, and that time Jesse Brandon wrapped up Forsythe before he ever got to the football.
That's one of those passes, how you say you think one's going the other way. That was about a step away from going the other way for a touchdown, because that ball was in the air for a long time. It was a pass that covered a lot of ground, gave Brandon a nice chance to make a break on the football. He was able to get his hand in there and knock it down.
Well, Kovalin to punt this football away. Let's see what he tries to do with this. He's going to angle it from one side. You have Pyatt and Duran back. He's going the opposite. No, he's going right down to Pyatt. I mean, he nailed him right in the chest at the 15-yard line. 20, 25. He's wrapped up and taken down about the 30-yard line. And the Arvada West Wildcat offense comes back out onto the field and try to do this all over again. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you, the Wildcat Television Network, as we bring you these ball games able for you to put them away and stack them on up in that video rack and see exactly what you want to watch whenever you want to watch them. Because, there are a lot of times when there's nothing on television, you might want to watch yourself once or twice.
Well, when there's nothing on TV, you want to listen to the radio.
Oh, okay. Not if you have a tape of you playing football. Micah Paladino in the slot. Craig Head off to the left side, and then you're going to have Pyatt in the middle there, and I tell you what, Cavallari tried waiting as long as he could to get rid of that football, but Colburn came in and drilled him. Jorge Sanzrico also in there, and I tell you, Fred Stoltz, the entire middle of that defensive line really did an awesome job for Standley Lake. But Cavallari showed a little chutzpah by staying in.
Well, Colburn, 6'4", 255. Sanzrico, I mean, he's not a small guy either. He got hit pretty good. Shows a little grit coming back and taking this next step.
Second and 10. Your own 30, and tried setting up the screen, and Cavallari was drilled again by the tandem of Geist and Raines, unable to get that ball to Duran on the screen.
You've mentioned how you've been impressed with these two linebackers.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, they were aggressive and heat-seeking missiles on that play. And Doug Padilla, from his defensive end spot, he backed off. He knows the tendencies of Arvada West. He knows they like to throw a screen pass. He backed off and darn near picked that thing.
Well, the catch is you're talking about two linebackers that came on a 5-2 defense, but they're your running backs. They are
forward.
Huge. Single back in the backfield. Flip it back to Duran on the option. Here comes the pressure. Can he get to that? Nice move by Duran. Just not enough room to run. He gets out to the 31, and the flag comes flying all the way from the other side of the field. The side linesman looked like Burt Reynolds in the longest yard trying to play quarterback as he just airmailed it. Clip on the Arvada West Wildcats on a third down play. They're going to push him back.
Well, it'll be, about 4th and 7? And with the tendency of Arvada West, or the proclivity of them to go for it on 4th down, you may want to take the 50. They're going to decline it.
One coach said take it. The coach, though, in the colored shirt said not to, so they listened to him.
Sean Tallman was there to come up from his defensive back position to finally put the wraps on Mike Duran, and Duran made a great move in the backfield just to get positive yardage out of that play. He couldn't escape Tallman, who was able to just trip him up at the ankles.
4th down and 8. Duran's going to have to punt this football away. Gets his foot into it, gets a decent punt. It's going to bounce at the 40, 30, keep on moving, down, keep going, 20, make it the 19-yard line when it rests.
That's a 49-yard punt with a pretty nice roll for Mr. Duran. So here with minute 42 remaining, Standley Lake's looking at 80 yards between themselves and pay dirt. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them put the ball in the stomach of Mr. Raines and be content to go into the half with an 8-8 tie.
I agree with you. 100%.
You've played a real good first half for being a decided underdog in this game, so don't put your team in a situation where you make a turnover, throw an interception, and give Arvada West a cheap one here. Go into the half. You got an 8-8 tie. You're playing well. Build on that. That's what I do.
Well, they're going to give it to Raines. Raines running hard. Wunderlich had him for a second. He bounces to the outside, and he's off to the races. 30, 40, 50. He is just a house of fire. Breaks the 40 down to the 37-yard line. You let that big moose go, he's going to hurt you.
23 yards on the run. Raines has 10 carries now, 447 yards, and the big guy ran up into the line of scrimmage. Wunderlich was blocked, but he tried to reach over to grab him. Raines spun out to the right side, and there was just no one out there on the perimeter of the Arvada West defense, and Raines just had a lot of running room, and you can see once he goes north-south, he can build up a lot of momentum.
43 yards on that, correct? I mean, he was gone.
Oh, yeah, 43. You're right.
1:22 left in the first half. Raines will come out. They used 2 timeouts in that first half, so they weren't unable to run out of, or they ran out of timeouts, I think. As a matter of fact, I know they used at least 2.
Right.
So they spiked the football, stopped the clock. First down and 10. Arvada West, 37-yard line, and this Gator offense has really shown something today. Jesse Kenzer, the former quarterback, is your tailback. Look for an option. No, he stays in and blocks. Gets a beautiful block, too. Go down, inside, and once again they find Braden Forsythe. This time he gets to keep it. Last time was a penalty.
23. That's going to be a first down, a pickup of 14 on the play. Bishop 108 yards passing so far here this afternoon.
And as my partner alluded to earlier, you have a young man that's running the football right now at tailback that can kick the heck out of the football. And Kenzer, and I mean, he's definitely in field goal range.
And I think they have one timeout left, and they're probably saving it, so if they do kick a field goal, they can call that timeout and get set up properly.
Short guys out there again. Clap them top of your screen. First down and 10. They're looking for him. Coming underneath. Oh, and Duran couldn't get it. Flora touched it. Duran touched it. They both smelled it out, but unable to get it there. I mean, if I could see it happen, and I guarantee you these guys sooner or later are going to see it happening too, because Flora read that all the way.
I'll tell you what, he and Duran both had that play read, and it's unfortunate too because Flora tipped it. If he wouldn't have tipped it, I think Duran would have had an interception because he had the route run instead of Clapham.
Is all I'm going to tell you. Nobody was out there.
I mean,
it would have been 90 yards down the sideline.
It would have been up to Bishop to catch him, and I don't think that's a fair foot race.
2nd and 10. Turn around, fake, roll out, looking for him again. Comes up underneath. That time it's intercepted. Pyatt with the football. He's trying to get to the outside, and he cannot. He's still on his feet. Oh, and finally wrestled down by the big man, Adam Sinclair, the lineman. That's a big, big turnover for Arvada West.
That's a case where the sophomore just got a little too greedy. I mean, you were close to being in field goal range already, and the one thing you definitely did not want to do was turn it over. Almost threw an interception on the play before, would have if Flora wouldn't have tipped it, and that time he threw it right to Pyatt. Pyatt was just playing center field, and the ball came right to him.
I agree. 1:01 left in the first half, 8-8 ball game. 7 in the box all afternoon long for the Standley Lake Gators. Cavalieri has not had a lot of time to throw this football. They're bringing him again. He dumps it out, couldn't get rid of it.
I'll tell you what, Cavalleri's taken a beating here in the first half. He's been hit hard a couple of times, and Standley Lake just continues to bring the pressure. That time Doug Padilla came hounding in on Cavalieri, and Cavalieri may be getting just a little bit gun-shy. He kind of short-armed that screen pass, and I mean, who could blame him because he's been hit an awful lot here in the first half.
Well, what's interesting is I want to see what offensive adjustments Dave Logan and company make over there at halftime because they know they're bringing everybody. They're bringing. I mean, they're man upping your receivers. You just don't have enough time to run to get the football there. Here we go. Straight handoff. Just give the quick fullback dive, running out of that hole and running strong with it for the first time since the first quarter was Zach Ewey.
15 yards in the carries. He's got 2 carries for 20 yards, and now Arvada West, with a little bit of time here, as Cavalieri downs it, they got 47 seconds, and they get 20 or 30 yards. They can attempt a field goal.
You know what? And that's another thing that I think we'll see a little bit more of in the second half. When they bring those big old linebacker boys and those 4 guys down front, if you can just get that fullback just a step, and let him get going, because I've seen Craco take off. I've also seen Chad Jones take off.
We just saw Ewey take off.
And in there again is Ewey, so we're going to see what we can do. 47 seconds and counting. Flip it back. Dern has it. Is he going to do the halfback pass? Yes. Beautiful pass. Pyatt's there, and this is going to score. Touchdown. Suck him in and throw it on down the field. Fire and ice once again. Duran to Pyatt, and Pyatt stopped for a second, but that pass kept going, finds him over his shoulder, and you got a score.
I'll tell you what a great call by Dave Logan there. I mean, we're talking about them maybe trying to get into field goal range. They pitch it back to Duran. Duran shows a nice arm on the play, and Pyatt just got behind the defender. The defender took a step in on the pitch. That's all Pyatt needed to get behind him. Pyatt beat Brandon Bauman on the play, and once Pyatt gets behind you, you ain't going to catch him.
The ball's going to be placed down, up, and oh my goodness, that made it if it did by about 6 inches. And good. 15-8, 38 seconds left in the first half, and the Wildcats take the lead for the first time on a Duran to Pyatt halfback option. And he just passed that ball down the side.
Just goes to show you that just when you think you have this Arvada West team backed up, or you have them in a situation where you think they're not going to be able to do anything with it. I mean, I don't care whether they're on their own one. I mean, they can be anywhere on the field. They've got the players, the playmakers, and they've got the offensive playbook to score from anywhere on the field any different way. I mean, just think of all the countless ways we've seen them score this year. I mean, this is just a team that you can never take a breath against.
Well, I have the fortunate opportunity to work rather close with one Dave Logan, and I'll tell you what, the man is drawing up plays all the time. I mean, I would be scared to see that playbook. But once again, these kids run these plays
exactly
at just an awesome clip and do a wonderful job. You couldn't have drawn that up any better.
I mean,
that was just
executed
perfectly. Beautifully executed.
Well,
ball's going to take a bounce. 38 seconds left. Allow someone to run one back. They just want to see what could happen. Micah Paladino in on the tackle. It's Keith Coville shocked that he had an ophelg's
got to give that kickoff coverage team a chance every once in a while to practice on, recovering the kicks.
I don't agree with that. Helgeson can kick it into that end zone every time. There's a little yellow flag laying down there on the field again, about the 27th one in the first half. This time against the Gators as they move it on back. Kind of hobbling on out there is a sophomore quarterback that's had a marvelous half, Justin Bishop. But you just talk about gangly, little-looking guy. I mean, he can't be but 130 pounds soaking wet in his uniform.
He's 7 of 17 for 108 yards. He has thrown 2 interceptions on the afternoon. Derek Cavallari, he's 7 of 16. He's got 154 yards of a touchdown.
He had no running backs. They just ran in. Turn around, hand it off to Kinsler. Once again,
running room.
He just, I don't know what it is about him coming up and once again Dirk Cisneros and drilling him, but for some reason Jesse Kinsler is just, he's like a snake. He's just slithering around back there. No one can wrap him up.
I'll tell you what, he's caught 1 pass for 15 yards. He has 3 carries for 37. Remember, he had a draw play that was called back because of a hold. That was another 30 or 40-yard run. So this guy has only touched the ball 4 or 5 times, but he's made it count by picking up a huge chunks of yardage here in the first half.
No, that was not a deer being shot. That was the gun to end the first half, and that will do it in Arvada West fine fashion. 15-8 the score, 15 minutes up on that clock for halftime. When we come back, we'll give you some first half stats. Also, get you the coin flip, figure out who goes what way, but I can tell you right now, Arvada West will get the toss. They will receive that kickoff after deferring in the first half, and we'll be ready for some football about 15 minutes from now right here on the Arvada West Television Network. Well, it's halftime at Jefferson County Stadium. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you. About 1:28 left in the half. The Arvada West Wildcats meeting the Gators out at midfield. The Cats will receive the second half kick. They'll go from left to, or right to left on your screen, and they have a 15-8 lead. And let's go ahead and take a look at some of those first half stats and see exactly how we got to this point, Eric.
Well, things have been pretty even. You look at the scoreboard, it's only a touchdown difference in favor of Arvada West, and the stats will prove that out. Total offense for both teams, Wildcats 246, the Gators 209, so both teams were able to do some things offensively. Leading Arvada West in rushing, Mike Duran, 7 carries for 31 yards. Derek Cavallari, 7 of 16, threw an interception, also threw a touchdown, 154 yards passing for Derek. Leading receiver for Arvada West, Jeremy Craighead, he caught a touchdown pass, 3 catches for 124 yards. Brad Pyatt had 2 catches for 75. On the other side of the coin for Standley Lake, Mike Raines led the Gators in rushing, 10 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Jesse Kinsler, he carried the ball 3 times for 37 yards. Justin Bishop, their sophomore quarterback, 7 of 17, 2 interceptions, 108 yards passing. And Kevin Clapham led the Gators in receiving, 4 catches for 58 yards.
And that's that little guy, 5'7", about 90 pounds.
He's got a nose for the football.
He sure does. But not only does he have a nose for the football, he has a quarterback that has a nose for him, and Justin Bishop knows how to search him out. Well, we're going to go ahead and put 12 minutes up on that clock and see exactly what can transpire over the next 24 minutes of play anyway. And 15-8 ball game as the Arvada West Wildcats get set to receive this kick. Pyatt and Dern will go back to receive. They've had an opportunity to receive one kick so far today and at least bring it back semi. Mm-hmm. Been an interesting ball game. I mean, as Eric was just alluding to, I mean, you have an Arvada West team that kind of got shell-shocked somewhat by a quick 8-0 score put on them by Standley Lake. And then the Gators defense really did a fine job of containing Arvada West when they had to, because they only had to 50% of the time. The Arvada West offense kind of contained themselves the other half with, a dozen or so penalties. And 7 penalties. Pretty big ones, too. And that's, negated one touchdown. As a matter of fact, each team had a touchdown negated by a clipping penalty and brought back, one for 50 yards for Arvada West, the other for between 35 and 40 for the Gators.
Penalties really did hurt Arvada West in that first half. They had an opportunity to put some more points on the board, as did Standley Lake. So despite both teams getting some things done offensively, I know both went into the locker rooms thinking what could have been. Arvada West going to get the football here to start the second half, and just sort of get the feeling that if Arvada West is able to punch this thing in for 7, it's really going to be tough for Standley Lake to overcome any kind of substantial deficit. They're all right now only trailing by a touchdown, but if they get down 14, 21 points, I just don't know if they have the firepower to come back on a team like A West.
Offensive explosion. Kensler's going to put his foot into it and send it for a ride, and coming up underneath, it's Duran, gets it at the 19, cuts back at the 20. He's going to find a block. Pyatt helps him out. Gets all the way across the field, turns it up 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, down to the 39-yard line. And Duran, he goes from one end all the way across the field. For a moment there, I thought he was going to run laterally further than he did vertically, but he decided to change that on me.
About 45 yards on the kickoff return, and the way Standley Lake sets up, they put the majority of the men on the right side of the kicker, so it makes sense that Duran took that thing to the other side. It took it to the left side of Standley Lake's line, and they only had 2 guys over there, and Duran, with his speed, got some good blocks, as Don said, from Pyatt, and it was just pretty easy to run it down here to the Standley Lake 40.
Cavallari and company come on out. I formation set. First down and 10. 39-yard line. Hand it straight back. Just power running once again by Zach Iwi.
Iwi comes up with 2 yards. Sans Rico was there on the tackle for Standley Lake.
Just powerful running. I mean, once again, that's what we were calling for later in the second period, saying if they could just break initial contain, because they're putting 7 men in the box, speaking of the Gators, you might be able to set something free, and that's what Coach Logan and company came out and tried to do. They're going to send Ransom to the top of your screen. Mike Paldino down at the lower end. I formation set once again. Drops straight back. Look for his man over the middle. Goes for Bernhorn instead, and the tight end is running hard. Breaks the 10 down to the 6-yard line, and great running by Bernhorn.
That was a great play, too. They haven't looked in Bernhorn's direction all afternoon. He just slipped off the line of scrimmage, picked up a big chunky yardage, and another Arvada West first down.
First down and goal at the 6-yard line. Bernhorn sings some cobwebs. He was ridden hard. I mean, he tried to barrel right through 2 guys there at the end, Eric, and then his helmet literally got shoved down into the, I was going to say turf again, but it's more like dirt.
He could have very well landed on the football when he got tackled. I mean, that could be a thing where he just maybe sort of knocked the wind out of him, and he's just trying to struggle to get those lungs working again.
Either that or he has a whole bunch of dirt in his eyes. Craighead's going to come off. Duran comes back in. Bernhorn looks fine. He's going to come off under his own power, and I'm going to have to agree with you. I think he probably just landed on that point of that ball and knocked the wind out of him.
Tell you what, that's a mismatch Arvada West might be able to exploit all afternoon. John Tran was the outside linebacker / defensive end for Standley Lake, and he was the one chasing Bernhorn. I'll tell you what, Bernhorn's going to beat him one-on-one 95% of the time.
Here we go. I formation set. Duran is your tailback. First down and goal, 6-yard line. Cavallari, the quarterback. First drive of the second half. Duran gets it, just kind of dances a little bit, gets it down to the 2. Nice outside tackle by John Tran as he comes from the defensive end position and just kind of jitterbugged around with him on the inside and finally pulls him down.
Duran did a great job there in the backfield. Mike Raines had a chance maybe to stop Duran for no gain, even throw him for a loss, but Duran stopped on a dime, Raines ran by him. He was able to turn it up and make some positive yardage out of it.
He must have touched his knee down or something else way back because they're pulling it back out to the 4. I could have swore he got down to the 1 or if not the 2-yard line. Craighead wide to the top of your screen. Paul Dino at the lower end. Bernhorn goes in motion. Flags flying everywhere, and that's 5 yards again. Going to call.
Penalties continue to plague Arvada West.
Yes, that's number 8.
To my count, they've got about 50 yards in penalties, but that doesn't take into effect like Duran's run that was brought back. I mean, you can add another 40 right there. So, I mean, they've had close to 100 yards that's been negated by penalties this afternoon.
Well, I misspoke. That was a delay of game, so they're going to set this up once again. Same play. Bernhorn will come in motion. He's going to set up on the other side. Turn around, give it to Duran. Duran finds a hole in the middle.
Easy.
Touchdown! Cavallari signaling touchdown, and then Duran was at the 3-yard line. I mean, you could have driven your car through there. Here comes a flag late, another flag late. A lot of discussing of personal habits, I guess, out there on the field because they're throwing flags and they're going to mark this off probably on the kickoff.
Give a lot of kudos to Jamie Seek and Kip Rule on the play. Those two guys really were the ones responsible for opening up the hole. Duran, I mean, he made it look easy because no one touched him. That was 8 yards like that. That was easy because of the guys up front. They did their job then.
Well, you have the offsetting personal fouls. You know, a couple of folks talking about their moms, and we're going to continue and go ahead and kick this extra point up and through. Grant Paulin is perfect here today, 1 of 1, and he's on his way to try 2 of 2.
And if Paulin can convert this, it makes it a 14-point Arvada West lead. And like we mentioned, I mean, Standley Lake doesn't want to get too far behind because I just don't think they have the fire.
It made it! I don't know how, but it made it. That was body
ugly.
Language and everything else pushing that thing up and over the top.
that was ugly.
I didn't mean in the middle of your comment there to try to help that thing across the goalpost.
Hey, you got to talk to it. It's like golf, you know. I mean,
Lord.
you got to talk to it.
It's like that 4-foot putt that just hits the
Turn, sit, bite, get out.
9:46 left in the third, 22-8. As the Wildcats found themselves trailing 8-0 and have turned on the water since then. I mean, this faucet is coming out hot, and this team is all of a sudden just playing like the offensive unit that they are, and things have turned around a little bit. They needed that confidence. I honestly believe that, and I think they got a little of it when Duran's 50-yard touchdown was called back. They at least knew they had it again. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And confidence is such a big, big thing, and now what they need to do is they need to just take this score and hit 50. And then next week do it against Arvada again. And just get ready for some good playoff action football when they play Pomona.
Tell you what, senior wide receiver Jeremy Craighead really had a large part in building this confidence as well. He made a few great plays there in the first and second quarters, and I really think that got this Arvada West team off the schneid.
No doubt about it, and then it was some tremendous play calling as well when you come back with Duran hitting Pyatt on the halfback option. And, you know, I mean, once again, it all boils down to confidence, and the confidence needs to be between the ears of players wearing purple helmets.
Well, they've got a 14-point lead here. The defense, with a little bit of inspired play, can really make it tough on Standley Lake. Standley Lake, though, in the first half, they were able to have some success both running and passing. Let's see how Standley Lake handles themselves here in the second half, trailing by 2 touchdowns.
Bishop drops back. And that time, Bishop, for the first time tonight, saw Clapham busy. I mean, he was out there, and there were guys all around him, so he decided he was going to go for Montoya. Montoya's name hasn't been mentioned since the very first play of the ball game, and he decided to go that way. Nice defense by Flora out there once again on Clapham.
Well, Flora was just setting up in a zone. He was the intermediate man, and he forced Bishop to try to throw it over him yet before, I believe it was Duran, and Bishop just couldn't thread the needle.
Well, if Arvada West defense continues to play strong, here's the pitch back. Get it once again out to your former quarterback, and Palmer wasn't going to let Kensler go anyway. Kensler had nowhere to go that time as he goes straight down. Every time Kensler comes in, well, 90% of the time Kensler comes in, you're going to see that option.
Absolutely.
But the thing that the Arvada West Wildcats defense has done by taking this ball and going down the field and scoring and going up by 14, they take a guy like Mike Raines out of the ball game.
Absolutely. And he's out of the ball game literally.
Completely.
He's nowhere out there.
Forsyth and Clapham, however, top of the screen. Lower end of your screen, you'll find Montoya dropping straight back. He wants him again. Clapham underneath, couldn't get there. I am going to predict something right here now as Flora went after that football. There will be an interception for a touchdown before this game is over.
I'll tell you what, Bishop, on his last 4 passes, he's 0 for 4, and that includes an interception. And the 2 he threw on that drive were nowhere close to their intended receivers. I think the sophomores getting a little rattled. I think Arvada West is sitting back in a little bit more of a zone defense and confusing him and his receivers a little bit.
Oh, there's no doubt. And Pyatt's going to get a chance to return a punt. Nope, it's coming to Duran. Duran's going to get it at the 44. He goes all the way around Pyatt. 45, 50, 40, 30. Gone. Touchdown. No flags on the field. Duran turns it up just like that. Gets that ball at the 44 and goes the distance.
I'll tell you what, he got a good block from Chris Chavez. Could have been a clip, but a flag wasn't thrown, so nonetheless, you give it props to Chavez. Threw a good block, and that gave Duran the ability to get around the corner. And, hey, you know, it's a good block if the refs don't see it.
56 yards on that woulda, coulda, shoulda big fella in this game. And I told you I felt an offensive explosion. And right now we're getting ready to put point 29 up on the board. It'd be 29-8 with 8:46 left in the third quarter. And a few Standley Lake folks deciding to leave because the sun has gone behind the clouds on their end of the field. Literally and figuratively.
That's right. I mean, hey, you know, Standley Lake acquitted themselves very well for the first half of this football game, but right now, special teams, as we've seen all year long, I mean, Arvada West probably has more special teams touchdowns than anybody in the state. I mean, it's like 1 or 2 a game, and that's what happens when you got guys with speed like Mike Duran and Brad Pyatt. I mean, it's pick your poison back there.
And they've been that way now for going on 4 years, 3 or 4 years, because you can go back to Pyatt last year, you go back to Will Rogers. The special teams has always been a big, big diamond in that ring of Arvada West, I tell you what, because they have done a beautiful job teaching these kids how to not only block, but the guys that get the ball how to run.
And the one thing they do on punt returns is they put 2 guys back there. They have both Duran and Pyatt, and what that does is, one, it gives you a better chance of fielding the punt without it bouncing and maybe picking up some cheap yardage that way. You got 2 guys back there to field it, so more often than not you're going to catch it. By the way, I believe Helgeson's going to kick this to the end zone.
And yes. Oh, he caught it! He put his foot on the goal line and caught it. That was a gutsy move because you only get the ball out to the 15. Otherwise, you would have had it out at the 20. He was frustrated.
Well,
he wanted to bring one back, and Keith Colville brings it back out.
Hey, that was a nice little catch.
It really was.
But the other thing on the punt returns, to finish up my point on that, is when you have 2 guys back there, when you do field the punt, you've got a lead blocker. And both Pyatt and Duran know how to block. And,
yes, they do.
It's really a nicely,
well-rounded
plan. And it's similar to how Nebraska does it. They put a couple guys back there to field their punts for the same reason.
Bring that team up.
Well, you know, I mean, Dave's played against them. He's watched them. I mean, he knows
comparing
that they do
Arvada
things
West
pretty
to
well.
Nebraska. Here we go. Let the running game go. See what you can do with it. Here comes the pressure. Oh, Palmer just sucked him up and spit him out, and nowhere for Jesse Kenzer to go.
It looks like the confidence, the swagger is back in the guys in purple and white. The defense right now is running to the football. Standley Lake's really having a lot of trouble here in the second half getting anything going. And that first half just might have been, you know, the growing pains of trying to gain back some confidence. I mean, you need to do something to gain back the confidence. You mentioned Duran's pass, Craighead coming up with a couple big catches. Those were the plays that got this Arvada West team back to where they should be playing pretty good football.
Big Mike Raines checks back into the football game. 2nd down and 12. And oh, man, Palmer with a drill, and he just leveled Raines. I want to see, again, who had him tied up. Somebody had him tied up.
I think that might have been Chavez.
It might have been Chavez. Had him tied up low, and he was still dragging and going, and Raines was trying, and then, hello, Ryan Palmer. Drilled him high. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you, the A-West television network. And right now the Wildcats are roaring loudly. 7:25 left in the third. And Rain says, give me that ball again. I want to see who hit me. Dropping back is Bishop. Here comes the pressure. He has to step up. Flips it underneath. Couldn't come away with it. Mike Jones had it in his mitts. Jesse Brannon and Palmer around him. He dropped that football.
That was a nice little play by Bishop, the sophomore. Again, like Cavallari did earlier in the game, stepped up in the pocket, felt the heat coming from the ends, bought himself a little time, and by scrambling, that caused the secondary for Arvada West a little confusion. Jones was able to find a hole. Pass was a little low, should have been caught. Just they couldn't come through with the execution.
And when you continually put them back like this, you have to punt the ball away. Duran's going to get it, drops it, gets it 45, going with the same type of play. Brandon helps him, couldn't get out of the grasp. Duran taken down, 49-yard line of the Gators. And here comes the defense once again for the Gators to try to stop this powerful offense of Arvada West. And you have to give him his due. Brian Zimmerman would not allow that leg to let go.
Tell you what, when you got a guy like Coville who's arguably not the best punter in the state, I mean, you just got to kick that thing out of bounds, I believe, against Arvada West. I mean, he doesn't kick it high. He doesn't get a spiral. He just kind of plunges it downfield. And, I mean, Arvada West, I mean, that plays right into their hands with Pyatt and Duran back there. I just kicked the ball out of bounds, not even let him return it.
Cavallari is going to take a seat right now, and coming on in is Wyatt. Wyatt gets the pass away, and Pyatt has it, and he's gone. Touchdown. The official blocked the defender, but he never would have got it anyway.
Nope.
Once Pyatt came down with that, it was over. Wyatt with a strike to Pyatt going up on climbing that ladder, bringing it down.
50 yards, I believe, on the play from Wyatt to Pyatt. Those two have hooked up before this year, most notably in that final touchdown in the win against Mullen. Again, it's just kind of a throw for grabs. I mean, Pyatt didn't necessarily have the defensive back beat. He just made a better play on the football. He outfought Bauman for the ball. Bauman actually gave up on the play once Pyatt caught it. I mean, no one's going to catch Pyatt from behind, though. And another big play for Arvada West. And, I mean, bang, here we've played, 3 or 4 minutes here in the third quarter, and they've already scored 3 touchdowns. I mean,
I got to give it a little more than that. It's been 5 minutes and 10 seconds. I mean, 36-8, the offensive explosion has happened. All of a sudden, Mount Fujiyama has erupted. Look out, Arvada.
I mean, Arvada West can put points on the board quicker than I think I've ever seen a high school football team.
Well, the thing was, what Pyatt just showed you there was tremendous upper body strength, because when he went straight up with the defensive back, the back fell to the ground. Pyatt kept his balance, and then, he, as you said, turned around and took off. Nobody was going to catch him. Koval wanted to think he could, but the officials was in front of him. He wouldn't have caught him either. Jefferson County has heated up a little bit. Beautiful fall afternoon. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Arvada West football.
Yeah, the Cats definitely are back, and with Pomona looming a couple weeks down the road, I mean, that's good news for Arvada West.
Well, don't worry about that one yet. You got to go and beat Arvada High School, and I'll tell you right now, Arvada's had a tough season. I mean, they run some wild system over there anyway, but they had a tough start. Yeah, they've started out very well, but they've had a tough season since. And if they just beat this team, they have a good year.
Sure.
I mean, you're talking bragging rights for Arvada. I mean, it is a big, big game. So the Cats have to get refocused, do it again, come out and just thump them like a dog, and then go into Pomona.
I have friends who went to both Arvada and Arvada West, and this is 10 years removed from high school, and they still talk smack to each other.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. I-formation set in Forsyth and Clapham at the top of the screen. Quick little dump pass, nowhere to go. Just glancing off the hands of, once again, Kenzer. Kenzer's been in this game a lot today. I mean, you're talking about your backup quarterback who started the season as your starting quarterback, and he's been in the game a lot.
I'll tell you what, I like the way he runs with the football, though. When he gets the football, he's the kind of player who can make some things happen for you. Justin Bishop, the sophomore quarterback, falling on some hard times here. He's now missed on his last 6 pass attempts and trailing by, 28 points. That does not bode well for the Gators.
Turn around, give it to Kenzer. Kenzer in the hole, and Wunderlich just, Wunderlich and Knight. Knight went low, but Wunderlich came over top of him and just sucked him up, and you couldn't see his jersey anymore.
Well, we talked about how Arvada West offense has exploded here in the second half. The defense has done its job, too. Standley Lake still looking for their first down of the second half and really still looking for their first play of any kind of positive gain. I mean, they've had a couple 1 or 2 yard runs, but that's been about it. They've really been stymied here midway through the third quarter.
Here comes a pass to Clapham, dropping straight back. Looking underneath. Wants Forsythe instead. Forsythe is out there. Oh, nice defense by Ranson. Ranson goes up and almost comes away with it. And the good thing was they were both fighting for the ball. Forsythe had no chance of getting it once Ranson went up. And once again, you've alluded to that quite a few times already this afternoon. Nobody goes up like the receivers for Arvada West after a football.
Yep, they've got great body control, and they know how to look at the football and judge when to make their leap and how to fend off the defender. Clapham really doesn't have the size to do it that effectively.
No.
That was a great play by the safety. I mean, that's exactly what your safety is supposed to do. Played center field, made a play on the football, incomplete pass. That's exactly what you're supposed to do as a safety.
Pyatt fields it to the 45. He tries to put on a move. Can he break the 2? Yes. Here he goes,
geez.
50, 40. Tries a cutback, and he does. Touchdown! He's going to go 65 yards with that ball. Back-to-back punt returns, Pyatt and Duran. Well, that was 2 out of 3 anyway for touchdowns.
57 yards on the punt return, and they just make it look oh so easy. I mean, Pyatt with his speed found a seam between the first 2 guys down the field for Standley Lake, ran right in between them, and then got some great downfield blocking. You can't talk about these punt returns without mentioning the guys who were doing the blocking for
no
him
way.
Because, no one laid a hand on him.
They really didn't. And he cut back 3 times,
yards.
and he takes it on in. That's back-to-back touchdowns by Pyatt. One off the catch and then that one. So you go 50. How long was that one?
57.
57 on that and 50 on the catch. And hitting the goalpost, no good. 42-8. 42-8 is the score, ladies and gentlemen.
It was like 10 minutes ago,
8-0.
it was like 15-7 or something.
Well, it started out 8-0.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's
42 unanswered points by the Wildcats, and I tell you right now, I haven't even had a chance to flip my card back over. I mean, we're just playing with this defensive unit again.
And again, I don't know why teams just, suck it up and kick the ball out of bounds. If Arvada West's going to beat you, make them beat you by throwing the ball or running the ball. Just kicking the ball on punts to Duran and Pyatt. You're asking for a big play.
Oh, no doubt.
You're playing right into their hands.
We've seen 2 of them today.
Especially when you got a punter who kicks a low line drive punt, because by the time Pyatt or Duran field the ball, the punt coverage team for Standley Lake really doesn't have a fair chance to get down the field. So these guys have more than enough time to survey the terrain and pick out where they're going to take the football.
Well, I'm going to officially, with 5 minutes and 34 seconds left in the third quarter, as the ball sails through the end zone, bring it back in the touchback, I am now going to officially dub Pyatt as healthy. Okay,
yeah, you can do that.
He is back. He now has 3 touchdowns today. His first one was a tailback option pass in which he received it he was on the receiving end of the pass from Duran. Then he has a touchdown catch, and now he has a 50-yarder, by the way, and now he has another touchdown, a run back from a punt return. So he is officially back.
I would say I'd agree with you. In the last 4 minutes and about 50 seconds of game time, Kensler is back at quarterback for Standley Lake.
No, he was not. He was. That was the option.
Oh, was it the option?
Yes, it was.
Arvada West has scored 5 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes and 50 seconds of game clock. That's amazing.
The game's over. Why don't we run some clock here, gentlemen? 5:26 and counting, 42-8. I was kind of saying it tongue in cheek that they were going to put 50 on the board today.
Might put 60.
It's a possibility now.
Oh, absolutely. We still got a quarter and a half of football left. All I need is another touchdown.
I'm trying to keep people watching, all right? You're not helping me here. Rain's back in the ball game. Give it back to him. Nowhere to go. First one that hit him was Morellas, and he was thumping that fist in the air. Big Rob Morellas, 235-pounder at 5'11", firmly plants those feet under that kitchen table every night and makes sure he gets some dinner. That's a big man.
That is a big man. Kind of, he's your typical nose guard, too. Not necessarily tall and big, more kind of short and stout, and gets great leverage at his defensive tackle position. That time, again, he just sort of submarined underneath the offensive lineman and was able to clog things up in the middle.
And broke his helmet. Grunterad is on his way in. Brad Grunterad, the junior, 5'10".
Now that sounds like a defensive tackle.
About 200 pounds on those scales. And he's going to fill Morales' place. That's a big place to fill. Dropping straight back. The sophomore Bishop goes into the flat. Oh, what a hit. Separating him from the ball. Justin Ruiz comes in and drills the 5'7" Clapham. Clapham had to climb up there to get that ball, too. Another 3 downs and out. Punt the football away again. Dern and Pyatt coming back. 2 of the last 3 punts they have returned for touchdowns. And right about this area.
That was the best pass Bishop's thrown in the last maybe quarter and a half of football. I mean, he found the seam between the short and the deep man in the zone, put the ball in the money. Is just a huge hit by Ruiz. And finally, Standley Lake decides not to give Pyatt and Dern a chance because, I mean, it's probably 50-50. They would have returned it again for a touchdown.
Well, they're going to give him the ball on the Gator 47-yard line. Still, I mean, that's dangerous territory. Now Arvada West is going to bring the running game in, let Dern pop a few and see if he might be able to pull it out that way. Probably see a lot more of a Matt Sims, a Chad Jones. I mean, we've seen all these guys anyway. There's a flag on the play. Personal foul is going to be called on Arvada West, so they're going to move him back a little further.
That is Arvada West's 9th penalty here this afternoon. Against some of the better teams that Arvada West will face, Arvada, Pomona, if they make it to the postseason, they won't be able to commit this many penalties and be able to get away with it. They can do it today against the Gators because they've just pretty much got them outmanned talent-wise. But when Arvada West starts facing some teams that can match them maybe more man-for-man talent and speed-wise, these penalties will become a lot more glaring.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And I'm talking 15-yard penalties, okay? I mean, that's huge.
It's tough to take touchdowns off the board like both teams have done today with penalties. I mean,
Cavallari checks back in. That's kind of an interesting move, too, because, as you recall, David Wyatt was in the game for one play.
Yeah.
50-yard
touchdown, and now he's wearing his baseball cap.
Yeah, he's sitting down. Got the John Elway look on the sideline there.
Cavallari hands it off.
Straight up the middle. Iwi with the football, and he's just going to motor on down to the 50-yard line and say, Coach, hand it to me one more time. They're going to pull him back to his own 49, but it will be a first down.
Iwi's had a nice little afternoon here. 4 carries, 33 yards. That's a nice little average for the fullback.
We still have an entire quarter of football left, plus 4 minutes of this. Checking into the ball game for the Arvada West Wildcats, Matt Morris, number 82. At the lower end of your screen, Bernhorn's going to flip sides. Morris will move on up to the line of scrimmage. Turn around, hand it straight back. Power running. Break the plane to the 45, down to the 44. Running strong with that football, Chad Jones, the 5'8 junior.
And this is the time of the football game where those offensive linemen are going to get to work on their drive block techniques because Arvada West looks like they're going to keep this ball on the ground, and right now that seems to be a pretty good plan because they're picking up 11, 6 yards a pop, and those guys up front are doing the job right now, wearing down a possibly tiring Standley Lake defense.
Same play once again. Shift that wide out up on the line, just go to the other side.
Jeez.
Chad Jones just running strong. They're trying to strip that football as he wraps it up and takes it down to the 31-yard line. I would venture to guess that Pyatt's done for the day.
You know, with that ankle, you don't need to put him back in there. I mean, him and Duran, well, here comes
Pyatt. No, he comes back in.
Right now, so what do we know?
Wow.
I'll tell you what, though, I took that play, I decided to take a look at the offensive line, and by the time Jones reached the line of scrimmage, Arvada West offensive front had pushed the Standley Lake defensive front about 3 or 4 yards back off the ball. So by the time he was touched, he already had 5 or 6 yards. There you see it again.
They're just going to let Jones run this football. He was just hogtied that time, wrapped around the neck by Fred Stoltz, the big senior nose guard. And, I mean, he got 5 yards out of it. But he collared him. Looked like a bad tie. 2nd down and 5. Ball all the way down to the Gator 27-yard line, and this Arvada West offense is just rolling. It's like a well-oiled machine right now.
Well, they got those big plays from Pyatt and Duran, both on offense and special teams, and Craighead made a couple plays in the first half, and now they're just going to run the football and let the guys up front do their job.
Not a problem there. And as you say that, they're going to find Pyatt just with a quick slip screen. Can he motor to the outside, still on his feet? No, taken down to the 21-yard line. So I said Pyatt would be done. You said that they would run it out. We've both been proven wrong right now by Coach Logan, and Pyatt just kind of stumbled around, and he walked off to the sideline.
Shows you what we know. That's why we're up here and they're down there.
Absolutely. 3rd down and a short one. Ball at the 21-yard line of the Gators. Wildcats with the ball. 1:43 left in the third. 42-8. Cats with the lead. Turn around. Headed inside. Give it to Iwi. He's going to get the first down. Break the play to the 20 down to the 19-yard line.
What Cavallari did there was something that everyone here in the area is familiar with. He went with that hard snap count a la John Elway, seeing if maybe he could get the defensive lineman to jump off sides. Really saw him bark out the signal there before he snapped the ball with a lot of enthusiasm. Standley Lake didn't jump. Nonetheless, Arvada West does pick up the first down.
Standley Lake still keeping 7 guys in the box. Now you have the split formation set for the first time today for the Wildcats. Turn around. Give that ball off. Running hard, unable to get anywhere. Maybe a yard. Iwi running strong. Chad Jones.
Geist hit him first, and then Cavill was there to finish off Mr. Jones. He gets the ball back to the line of scrimmage. And, again, right now I think Standley Lake just looks like a tired football team. You see some guys out there bending over at the waist with their hands on their hips. This is a defense that here in the second half has been on the field a lot because their offense hasn't been able to do anything.
Absolutely. Dave Padilla over on the sideline. He's being looked at by the trainer.
He's played a good football game.
He really has.
Today too.
A little frustrated right now as well. They're going to put some ice on his ribs. His father just came out of the stands and went down to talk to him. Cavallari's down. Woohoo! Quick speed. Jorge Sanzrico. Good 250-pounder, and he shot through there like he was shot out of a cannon. Heard his dad or someone out here, Sanzrico!
The family cheer.
No doubt about it. Major league loss. 3rd down and a long way to go, but they're going to have to do it in the 4th quarter. We're going to put 12 minutes up on this clock and see how fast we can rattle them off. As Don Martin, Eric Christensen, proud to bring you this outstanding production. The Wildcat Television Network.
It's just so amazing to me looking at the scoreboard there on the screen, 42-8. I mean, we started the 3rd quarter, and the game was in the balance. I mean, it was 15-8, and you kind of thought Arvada West had started to get a few things going there in the second half, but still they needed a halfback option pass to score the go-ahead touchdown. So, I mean, this was a pretty tight ball game, and Standley Lake was giving Arvada West all they could handle. And then, like I said, in about a 4.5-minute period, Arvada West scored 4 touchdowns, and that's not the first time they've done that this year. I mean, we were up there for that Fort Collins game earlier in the year, and I mean, like the first half, the first quarter, it was like 28-0.
Oh, boom! Just like that.
They scored 2 touchdowns like in the first minute of play, and I don't know if you've noticed this, Don, but Fort Collins, they lost to Pooter last night by 7, and Pooter's a ranked team. But before that, they were like 5-2. They upset Loveland?
Yes.
I mean, Fort Collins is a pretty good football team.
Yes, they are.
And Arvada West made them look like men against boys.
They sure did. There was no doubt about that. All right, trips formation set for the Wildcats. Dropping straight back is Cavallari, looking in the flat. Wants his man. He's out there. Oh, nice defensive move. Forsyth, right place, right time. Hands up, touches the ball first. Ranson wanted an interference call, but there wasn't one because Forsyth got his hands on the football.
Again, another nice play by a defensive back on a deep pass. You got to locate the ball and then be aggressive and make a play for it without really getting yourself called for interference. And that time, Forsyth made a play on the football, avoided the receiver, knocked the pass away. Textbook.
Ranson comes out, back into the ball game. Jeremy Craighead, the guy who started this offensive onslaught. And he's going to be lined up off to the right side. They're going to go an option to the other side of the field, however, and Chad has nowhere to go. Chad Jones got the ball at the last minute, but unfortunately for him, when he got it, there was only a yard left of turf. He had nowhere to go.
6 carries, 31 yards today for Chad.
That was a fourth down, and they have to turn this ball over on possession and bring the offense back out for the Gators. Justin Bishop and company really, truly unable to do anything in this second half.
Yeah, they've been shut
anything.
down.
It's been ugly.
The Purple People Eaters have
They woke, didn't
yep,
they?
they're awake here in this third quarter.
Woke up.
They might have been sleeping a little bit there in the first half, but in the second half they are alert and ready to rumble, as you see there by Jeff Flora.
Flora with a beautiful move on Raines. Raines looked like it was wide open. He was coming right into your living room, nobody around him. Flora showed a little speed, and then he just got on his back like a good old country cowboy and rode that cow down to the turf.
I've mentioned this before, too, during our telecast. I mean, the linebackers for Arvada West are big, but they're fast. I mean, guys like Flora and McNeely, I mean, they've got a little speed to them, yet they're 210, 215, and on the high school level, yeah, that's a big outside linebacker.
And then you look at Palmer, who's just
240
strong,
and
just strong.
Robo-backer.
The pass was out there. Footsteps heard by Clapham, and he let go when Jesse Brandon hit him. Third down and a long 8 once again. This has been the norm here in the second half.
Bishop's only hit on one of his last 12, and he hasn't completed a pass in his last 9. And, I mean, Arvada West's put a little more pressure on him, but I think Bishop has just maybe got caught up in the excitement a little bit, has made some poor reads, and just thrown some poor balls.
11 minutes left in the ball game. Let's see what he can do on this turn. Come about. Here they go. Look for the screen. Find their big fullback. Geist has it. Palmer had him. Couldn't get him. Gets the first down. Nice running by the fullback. Geist doesn't touch the ball very often. And he got away from Flora and Palmer that time and gets enough for the first down. The clock continues to roll.
Pickup of about 10, and that is Standley Lake's first down here in the second half. And a nice design play. Arvada West brought the pressure. Standley Lake had called for a screen. That's a perfect play when the defensive line is aggressive and coming at your quarterback, and Geist was able to sneak past those linemen, find some room, and avoided an initial tackle, I believe, by Flora, and was able to pick up the first down.
No doubt. I formation set. Hand it off inside. Give it to this guy who can just seem to run all day long, and I don't get it. Down to the 49-yard line once again is Kenzer, and this is the Arvada West 49. Kenzer, when he touches the football, seems to pick up positive yardage every time.
Yeah, he's really had a nice game here, both catching the ball and running the ball. He shows a lot of foot speed. He's a little woozy right there because I'll tell you what, he got hit by a couple guys. Justin Ruiz was one of them in on the tackle. He got sandwiched by a couple of guys, and as you can tell, he's not quite sure where he's at.
He's reading the Sunday paper already, and this is Saturday. I mean, he is just his coach had to go out to him. He couldn't walk the straight line. Timeout being called by Justin Bishop. Justin Ruiz has been in on 2 big plays. We haven't seen a whole lot of him, in the last few games, but Justin has really come up big today.
I mean, that was a big hit he put on there on Kenzer, and Kenzer's going to feel that and remember that tomorrow morning when he wakes up. Nonetheless, though, just when you thought Standley Lake might have packed it in, they've come up with back-to-back first downs here, and they're trying to get something going here in the fourth quarter. This is a team that obviously has had a disappointing season. They had 15 starters returning from last year's squad, where I believe they were, 3-7 on the year. And I think a lot of people thought maybe this is the year Standley Lake cracks through and maybe breaks the 500 mark. But it just hasn't happened, and it's unfortunate because, I mean, they play in probably the toughest league in the state in 5A Jeffco. And
no doubt.
When you're going up against the Columbines, the Bear Creeks, the Arvada West, I mean, it's hard to get your victories.
Well, 7 returning starters on offense, 8 on defense. Yeah. Pass overthrown, unable for Montoya even to come close to that. 10 minutes left in the ball game, 42-8. Second down and 10 now. They have the ball just inside Arvada West territory, and things just not clicking for Justin Bishop in the second half. As you've alluded to a couple of big times, he can't seem to complete that big pass.
Oh, I bet Guy Thurston's thinking right now, you know what? I wish this game would have ended at the half.
Oh,
sure.
Because
if the game would have ended at the half, I mean, this team could have walked away and been disappointed, exactly, with losing, but they could have said, hey, you know what? We played pretty good. Here's a little nice pass.
Till Flora smelled it out like a T-bone steak. He just waited for that ball to float back. He wasn't even going for an interception. He wanted to cream a quarterback, and Flora just nailed Justin Bishop on that comebacker as Koval brings it back.
That's a well-coached football player right there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, doesn't get caught up with pursuing the play, keeps with his containment, snuffs out the fake pass from the running back to the quarterback, and I mean, Flora was all over it.
Bad dream there for a second for Justin Bishop when he looked up and the ball was coming down.
I think he thought he'd have some wide open room to run.
Oh, I bet. 3rd and 15, they're bringing them all. He's going to lay it out there. Oh, there has to be a flag.
Yep. That's Ruiz putting another big hit on a guy this time, though.
Ruiz nails Clapham, and unfortunately, he never turned around, and the ball sailed over both of them.
Mm-hmm. And there's probably maybe a question to whether that pass was catchable, but I think the way Ruiz just put a forearm shiver underneath his chin might have been why the flag absolutely was thrown.
I don't care catchable or not. They're going to call that flag every single time when you just level somebody.
I mean, cross-checked him.
That was a great hockey move. It's going to be a first down, automatic first down, ball 39-yard line of the Cats, and it's all right. It's all right. I mean, you can't blame a young man for being aggressive. They're playing defense. They're not out here wearing tutus. It is football. 9 minutes left in the ball game, 42-8.
There was nothing subtle about that.
Well, to see that kind of action still going on when you know the game's finished.
Sure.
Wildcats now with 8 guys in the box. They're expecting something, and that's what it was. And Flora being taken for somewhat of a ride by Mike Raines, and he picks up 5 yards. Flora has been the man, though. I mean, he has been flying to that football all afternoon.
Especially here recently. I mean, we've been calling his name about on every play, and that time he went head-to-head with big ol' Eric Raines, and Flora was able to eventually bring him down after a 4-yard gain, but he did a nice job of keeping a hold of the big guy because Raines was trying to fight through that tackle. Flora just wasn't going to let him go.
Well, here we go. We got a new matchup. Clapham outside. They're going to giving it to him. No, they're going to go with Raines, and Flora drills him in the chest. Oh, Luke Vanola was one-on-one with Clapham that time for the first time in the second half, but I kind of figured they might go in that direction. They give it back to Raines, and as you say, Flora just tattooed his chest. He's the captain, too. Gets all the plays called in. You hear Palmer's name a lot. Palmer is a man amongst boys at
one of the state's leading tacklers, too.
And today, Flora has stepped his game up to the point where you're hearing more of Flora than you are Palmer.
Flora, he's just got that combination of size and speed, about 215, and he can run, and he's got a good nose for the football. This is a kid who is going to be able to do some damage on the next level.
Oh, and as I start talking about Mr. Palmer, he comes in with a big 15-yard sack. Throws Bishop down on 3rd down and 5 for a loss of 15.
Ryan Palmer, not to be outdone, shoots from his middle linebacker spot like a torpedo and goes in unblocked, and poor Justin just never had a chance, did he?
No.
Just never had a chance.
They brought more people than you had blockers, and Palmer was untouched. And if you do that, and you know you're going to be short of blockers, I make sure I let someone else go. I don't let Palmer go.
That's the one guy I'm going to block.
That's the one guy you have to put a helmet on. Timeout Arvada West. No, I think it might have been the other side, but we'll find out here in a second.
Well, Craighead's running on the field late. I wonder with Pyatt and Duran not back to return the punt. There might have been a little confusion as to who was going to take their place.
Well, I'm glad they called a timeout because Craighead and Jones didn't give me enough opportunity to see who they were back there. 7:05 left in the ball game. This is one of those ball games that just goes on and on and on. After you have 4 minutes of just outstanding football, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was a 4-minute game for Arvada West, you know.
Whew.
In 4 minutes, they basically picked up their 6th victory of the year.
You kind of felt it, though. I mean, when they scored at the end of the first half, you kind of felt something was just the armor was starting to crack just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Couldn't ask for a better one in late October.
No.
I'll tell you that.
It's hard to believe it's almost Halloween, and Halloween typically brings that big snowstorm.
Sure. Well, it was about a year ago this week that we had that major October blizzard, wasn't it?
We're going with some sort
little
of
fake.
Well, they were trying to. I don't know what they were trying to do.
They had 4 guys in motion at once.
Then it cost you a 5-yard penalty because someone moved. So now it's 4th down and away again. I mean, it was 4th down and 25. Now you're going to move it back further.
They just wanted to give the punter a little more room to.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll buy that. I will buy that. Fred Stoltz comes off, the big 6'1", 285 senior nose guard. They're faking some fakings over here, and the ball's going to go out of the 30-yard line. Flag's down again. It stayed in bounds. It's going to die at the 20. We're even keeping Eric awake here. Flag down. Arvada West is going to decline it. Or can they? Legal procedure. Just decline it and start dropping on the ball.
There we go.
Palmer says, we don't want it. Bring the offense back out. We've been on the field too long. Let us sit down. Who's going to come out at quarterback here? The Arvada West Wildcats have really just done a wonderful job. Wyatt's going to come out for his second play. He came out for one play in the third quarter, threw a 50-yard touchdown to Mr. Pyatt, and since then he's been sitting down over there by the heater. Now he's going to come out and take it easy a little bit. Playing the game.
Well, Wyatt's 1 for 1 with a touchdown. Be hard to match that effort here on his second attempt if he puts it in the air.
Don't think this ball's going airborne. Turn around, hand it off. Fresh legs running with the football. Break the play into the 25, and Josh Isbell comes on in. Josh new into this ball game. Senior running back, 6'1", 185-pounder.
Picks up 5 yards. Showed some good foot speed there. Got those feet moving.
It's getting a little nippy out here. I don't know about you.
I'm in shorts, too. I'll tell you what, though, if I could wear shorts at the end of October, I'm a happy man.
Yes, you are. 2nd down and 5, their own 25-yard line. Encroachment. Defense. 1st down.
Tell you what, I've noticed a few of the Standley Lake coaches brought out the shorts today, too, so I'm not alone.
No, and they kind of wish like you they had not.
It's all right in here, though. We're sort of enclosed, you know.
Every time I come to the ballpark and I tell them I'm with you, we normally get pretty good service. So I'm using your name a lot these days.
Really?
6 minutes left in the ball game, 42-8. 1st down and 10 from their own 30-yard line. Wildcats with the ball and the lead. Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you. Give it to Isbell once again. Ran pretty strong till he got about 5 yards across that line of scrimmage, and then they stood him up and threw him backwards.
You know, the name Christensen still carries some weight around these parts.
There's no doubt about it. You are a legend.
I spent some time roaming around the Arvada sector of the Denver metro area when I was in high school and stuff. Had a couple good friends that went to Arvada and Arvada West.
I went to Pomona. My little sister went to Arvada. Really? So, yeah, I spent a little time that way, too. My mom still lives that way. 15-yard face mask penalty. No wonder he stopped in motion and came back hard. Ball crosses the midfield stripe. 48-yard line of the Gators, and the Wildcats with the football. David Wyatt is your quarterback here. And once again, new tailback, Josh Isbell. Gets the football again. He's just running strong. Ran into a very upset linebacker, though. Mike Raines is a little upset at the way that his team has played today, and he just took him right off his feet and drove him into the ground.
Still, though, Josh picked up 5 yards, 5, 6 yards.
Running hard with that football.
Raines looks like a football player, though, doesn't he? He's all dirty. He's got the elbow pads. When he tackles you, it's usually with bad intentions.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Jim Brown kind of running back, and then he comes in and he kind of is that Jack Ham.
Dick Butkus sort of linebacker.
Give that ball to the fullback, and he just delves out a little bit of punishment of his own before he went down. Said, let me run with that ball, coach. And they did. And the sad part about it is I'd like to tell you who he is, but there isn't a number 30 on our roster.
Wow.
Could be
John
Degner.
Degner. Yeah, that's who I'm guessing. Well, if it was John, he picked up about 13 yards in the carry.
Well, we're going to call him John from now on anyway. Stays in at the fullback position. He blocks this time. Isbell gets some space on the outside. It's all coming back after holding. Gets enough for the first down as he breaks it inside the 20 down to the 16-yard line, all for naught.
Looks like Clayton Seiler may have been the guilty party on that one for the Wildcats.
4 minutes, 22 seconds left in the ball game. Bring it back 5 yards. Continue to let the clock run and continue to motor on down. Interesting football game. Arvada West just was stuck like in quicksand in that first quarter and didn't get on the board till late in the second.
And you know, that's been a scenario that's played out often for Arvada West. You know, we've done a number of games where they've gotten off the slow starts. Yeah. The opponents gained some momentum. You thought, hey, you know, this might be a tight one, and just like a light switch, you know. Guys like Duran and Pyatt just turned it on, and about 5 minutes later, game over.
1st and 25, it was a weird call, face mask on the offense. So someone tackled someone flagrantly with a face mask. We have a young man right now that is running the football at about 5 yards a clip, and Josh Isbell.
I've got him 4 carries, 19 yards here this afternoon.
That's not bad.
No. There's a good chance for a lot of these guys like Josh Isbell and Tom Gallegos and company, a lot of these younger players, to get some quality minutes against the first-string defense, or at least the majority of the first-string defensive players for Standley Lake. These guys are getting battle-tested, and Josh Isbell, actually, he's a senior. So
been tested.
He's been tested. Nice chance for him to get some memories of his senior year out here on the field.
Absolutely.
You know, these guys are getting some experience against an opponent's number one defense, and this is experience that these guys can't get any other way.
I agree with you. And then not only that, he's getting his letter, and he's earning it himself. Isbell carries once again, coming down on 3 minutes, 42-8 the score. The Wildcats with the lead. This one pretty much in the bank as they get set to move to 6-2. Next week, Bozio and company out there at Arvada as they bring the Reds to town. See, back when I was growing up in these parts, it was the Redskins, and they politically went correct and call them the Reds.
That's right.
And then you have the Pomona Panthers in their all-black uniforms with Gary Klatt, the lone man to bring a state championship to the Pomona Panthers, comes back and coaches that team again.
Doing a great job, too.
Gary was the coach when I was there. Fake! Oh, yes! Fake by Isbell on the reverse, and he's going to score. No, they pull him down at the 2-yard line.
36 yards on the run, though.
Koval wasn't going to give it up. Isbell fakes the reverse, and he just takes it down, had a wall of blockers.
I'll tell you what, Standley Lake bit on the fake reverse, too. They saw the reverse coming, and a lot of the defenders stopped in their tracks, getting ready to retreat. Isbell faked the handoff and just kept running. He had a wide open sideline.
1st down and goal from the 4-yard line. I guarantee you have no less than one run here, no more than 4. There will not be a pass.
6 carries, 59 yards for Isbell here in the fourth quarter.
Turn around, give it to him again. Touchdown.
And number 30 again, if that is John Degner, got a good lead block, springing Isbell into the end zone.
You know what? Now, that's his first touchdown of the year, so I want to do that again. Let's just rewind that. Gets the ball 5 yards deep. Touchdown. Give it to Mr. Isbell.
There you go. Hey, that was all him on that drive. I mean, he carried it 7 times for 62 yards.
He did a marvelous job. 48-8. They will not hit the half-century mark. 1:45 left in the ball game. They will get to 49.
Looks like Arvada West has officially regrouped and is back after 2 tough losses to Columbine and Bear Creek. Struggled here maybe through the first quarter and a half of the football game, but this looks like the A-West team of old, especially there in the third quarter.
Oh, absolutely. Very impressive offense. Very, very impressive. And you can't even just say offense. 2 of those scores came in special teams.
Mm-hmm. And the defense, I mean, they've kept Standley Lake out of the end zone since the first quarter. Standley Lake scored their lone points with about 13 seconds left there in the first quarter. They've been scoreless ever since.
Also very impressive. Yes, indeed. This is the light shining brightly on this Arvada West team again, and this has to be a tremendous confidence builder.
Absolutely.
After losing 2 games, like they did, now to come back out. I mean, because a lot of people would tell you, yeah, Arvada West was going to win this game, but when they were trailing 8-0, and things were rather glum in that
Absolutely.
first half, to be able to come out and finally say, yeah, we now have hit on all cylinders and we can play football again. These guys are ready to roll.
And as I'm sure Coach Logan will point this out to his players and the rest of his staff as well. I mean, it wasn't a perfect outing. I mean, they did struggle there in the first quarter and a half. They've committed 11 penalties for 93 yards. So, I mean, there's still some work to do for this club. But, I mean, the goal is to get better week in and week out. And after 2 rough weeks, this team has gotten a lot better this week. So,
can you get any better than Helgeson, though?
I mean, it's just automatic, isn't it?
Jeez.
I mean, the only one that's been returned is the one where Cavell did a Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch at the goal line to keep it in the field of play.
That landed on the back end of the goal line, okay, the back line of your goal. So that's 70 yards.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. 1:45 left in this ball game. Let's see exactly what Standley Lake would like to do. I doubt we'll see any timeouts here.
Well, just when you say that,
Arvada West calls timeout. 1:45 left. They have 12 guys out there.
I bet Josh Isbell called that timeout from the sideline. Just wanted to soak in as much of this as he can.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think there's still 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No. Somebody just ran off. I'm just trying to make sure that there weren't 13.
They went to the Rick Neuheisel CU school of... I just had to get that in.
We're back to an official 11.
They got 11?
We've got an 11. Let's go ahead and end this puppy. 49-8. Final drive of the night for the Standley Lake Gators. They trail this game. They're going to throw a pass, try to get out of bounds, at least down the sideline. And 1:37 left. You cannot take anything from the Gators. They're not going to stop, and you got to like that. I mean, they're going to try to get everything they can against this Arvada West defense and get an opportunity to at least do something, save some face.
Absolutely.
Clap them with a catch.
17 yards on the reception. He's got 5 catches tonight for 75 yards. I've been pretty impressed with Clapham. Got off to a quick start. He's been silent in the second and third quarters, but he's got good hands, and he knows how to run with the football after the catch.
Oh, he's proven that. I mean, he had a tremendous first half. Give this ball off to Raines. Raines isn't going anywhere.
There were a host of Wildcats in on the tackle. I'm still looking for the number of the first guy who was in on it, though. I believe it was 93.
That would be somebody.
Yeah.
Also a young man without
a number.
A number. Well, at least without a name on our roster. 1 minute, 8 seconds and counting in this ball game. Tremendous performance by Arvada West today. Dominating performance. Drop straight back, looking again. He's going to send this out. Timing pattern, he's out there. Catches it out of bounds at the 30. Over the shoulder. How do you run a timing pattern with a guy that's 5'7"? Throw it to a spot and let him get there. He's talking to him again.
6
They're gonna
catches,
go the same
107 yards for Clapham, so he's broken the 100-yard mark here this afternoon.
They're going to him again because he just met his quarterback, said something to him back at about the 50-yard line. He's going to line back up out on that left side.
Stop, hitch, and go.
49 seconds left in the ball game. Clapham wants a score. Here we go. Bishop's going to take the snap, drop straight back. He wants him again. There he is. He told him he'd be there.
And he was 14
Yes,
more
he
yards.
was. Ball, the clock is stopped because they're going to move the chains. 41 seconds left, 49-8. They're looking for it. 18-yard line.
Nice confidence building drive here for Bishop and Clapham. I mean, Bishop, a sophomore, had a rough time there in the middle stages of this football game, but he's finishing strong, trying to complete this game on a good note, so he can go home with some good memories and some good confidence.
Flags blowing too much. Nope, someone moved. Why would you even worry about that with 21 seconds left in the ball game? Let the kid throw the football.
It's his job.
You hate it when the officials take over the ball game, you know? Don Martin, Eric Christensen with you. Beautiful Jefferson County Stadium. Not the field itself, but the evening.
The day was great.
It's been an outstanding day. 18 seconds left in this ball game. The clock's rolling. 15 and counting. Back to the 23-yard line. Look for Clapham. 10 seconds. 9 seconds. This should be our last play. May not be. 5. Dropping straight back. Wants Forsythe. Forsythe is out there. Trying the timing pattern. Not able to get there. Clock is at zeros, and that's going to do it. The final score, 49-8. Eric, wonderful working with you again, and we'll see you next week as
likewise
the Reds come to town, and we take the Reds and the Wildcats right here on the Wildcat Network, and we'll see you next time. The final, once again, 49-8. What a performance.